And welcome to College Kings episode 14. It's championship weekend. CDM, how does that make you feel?
So it makes me feel good, but it also makes me so sad because that means college football is coming to an end. But we still got bowl games. But we're getting closer to the end, bro, and it's getting really sad.
It is, man. It's right here, man. And we said it last week. College, it feels like it just started, and it's over. It's over.
That's right. It's over now.
Jeez. Like we're not going to get it every weekend anymore. Yeah, we're going to get games, but it's not going to be consistent games, man, you know?
Yeah, no. The bowl games are going to be fun, but it's just not going to it's not going to bring the same love, you know what I mean?
Mm-mm. It's not.
It's not going to be the same. Plus, it's the last year of conferences.
Yep.
We lose to Pac-12. We lose. SEC becomes its own conference. Big Ten adds in Pac-12 teams of like Washington, Oregon, UCLA, USC, and Big 12 adds in Arizona and Utah. I mean, it's a whole different league after this year, plus 12-man playoff as well.
It's going to be a different league. Bowl games won't matter as much. There's not going to be as many rivalry games anymore. You're going to get rid of some of these rivalry games that we get to see. Speaking of rivalry games, rivalry week last week was insane. Absolute chaos.
Oh, dude, it was the best. I think it was the best week of college football.
I completely agree. If that's the last week of the regular season, give me that every single time. Vikings just got the ball back. Oh my gosh, this is such a horrible football game.
This is terrible.
9-3 in the fourth quarter. Horrible. But yeah, man, awesome football. Like literally incredible football this weekend in college football. Like every game, it felt great. Like it was just a great game. And man, I would give that week for any week in college football. Upsets, almost upsets, amazing performances, teams that just stay hot. Hey, miracles, you know?
Miracles.
Hey, some teams will just keep on winning, you know? And we're going to talk about all those beauties, especially the game. Michigan handling the Buckeyes. Like I said, they're the best. Like I said, never lost doubt, never lost fate, you know. But there was also, like we said, that history, miracles, another historic Iron Bowl finish. This game produces every year. That indicates who won. If you live under a rock, yes, at Alabama.
If you live under a rock, I just want you to know that Alabama won.
They did, and it was incredible. We will show y'all how they won it as well. That crazy play by Jalen Milroe. Give our thoughts on that. Fourth and Milroe. I like that. Then Louisville somehow just crashing and burning against Kentucky.
Insane. Like it was. I thought they were going to win it.
Yep. Hey, dang Louisville, man. We said it. The most confusing team in football. Then we go to Washington, surviving once again. Ole Miss takes the Egg Bowl. FSU gets the dub without Jordan Travis. And Jayden Daniels finishes his career with the LSU Tigers and college ball. That's not all we're talking about, though. A lot of coaches getting fired and hired. Transfer portal is popping off like crazy today. We couldn't get them all. That's without a doubt impossible. We got some of the rumored ones. We got some of the confirmed guys in the portal. So we'll kind of give our thoughts on some of these guys. Some big-time names are going to be in there. Some good quarterbacks that could go to some teams that need it. Good receivers that could possibly be on the market as well. And then, of course, we give you our new top 6 teams and our Heisman Watch, even though it is a two-man race at this point. Literally pick 'em odds between those two guys, Jayden Daniels and Bo Nix, but we will kind of give you our reasonings of why we have that guy, a certain guy at number 1. And then we give you our New York 6 bowl game predictions. Obviously, this is tough. You never know which teams are going to put in certain bowls. The only one that's a guaranteed, obviously, besides the playoff games, is the Orange Bowl. We know which conferences are playing in that, but the other ones, it could be anyone. So we'll give you the matchups we got.
Anybody's ball game.
It's anyone's ball game.
The matchups that could happen could just be insane.
They could be good. They could be very, very good matchups. But, of course, we will also look into championship week with our game picks. I'm gaining on you, brother. I'm gaining on you.
Are you, though? I think I'm still there. I think I still
got the lead, myself. But I got 2 on you. I got 2 on you this past weekend, so now I only had 2 games out. So hey, the slow approach. We're going to win this.
May the best man win.
May the best man win. Let's get into this pod, brother. Episode 14 of the College Kings starts right now. Man, a lot of coaches being hired, brother. A lot of them getting fired as well.
Coaches getting fired, too.
Yeah. Yes, there is.
Like dropping like flies right now.
Yes. And, man, big deals going around. Obviously, the biggest opportunity, I guess you could say. No one's really done its justice with the job, but if you can bring in anybody. You can have a number one recruiting class at this university, at Texas A&M, as they hire Duke's head coach, Mike Elko, who has done really, really good over there for the Blue Devils. Now he comes in to Texas A&M. The 12th man has a new head coach. After some wildness with Mark Stoops, everyone was posting on Twitter and everything.
That was confused. Yeah, that confused me because I thought it was a set deal, and then I saw that it bottomed out. Like nothing was going into play at all.
Yeah.
So that's what confused me.
Yeah, Mark Stoops was the guy that came out and was like, no, I'm not taking that job. And it's like, what does that mean?
It sounds a little personal.
It's like, I'm not taking the job. And it's like, who was the one that broke this news and who was being told this? It's like, maybe he was a candidate, but obviously he was not hired. And that's what everyone was saying.
He did not want the job either.
Yeah, I mean, he's doing great with things with Kentucky, and some people had their opinions about it, which I didn't think it was a horrible hire. I mean, it's how many guys are really out there? You're not going to hire.
There's not the coaching poll right now for like good head coaches are not really out there right now. Like it's only like offensive coordinators, defensive coordinators who are getting their shot to be a head coach.
Yep.
But I mean, at least they found a head coach though. At least they found somebody that can actually like knows what to do in that type of position instead of finding an offensive coordinator or defensive coordinator, somebody like that that's never been in that head coaching position, that head job, being the head honcho of a team. So they've got somebody there that knows what he's doing and how to take care of business.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
that's what scares me about these two other coaches that just got hired, though. That's the thing.
Yeah, man. I mean, hey, it's I enjoy the hire. I think when you hire a guy like a Mike Elko, it's good for A&M to kind of get a guy that doesn't have the spotlight on him at all times. When you had Jimbo, it was spotlight, as much as, he's a champion, so obviously that comes with the championship, pedigree. They're going to see if you can do it again. Obviously, that's what everyone looks for. They don't care about the championship you won. They're ready for the next one. And with Mike Elko, you kind of can maybe fly under the radar. Win some recruiting classes, be top 10 in recruiting, get some players, maybe get some transfer portal guys, get this team on the track because, let's be honest, as nice as the destination is, as much money as this university has, they're not winning football games,
No.
They're not winning the conference.
Nothing during the Jimbo era looked promising at all. Yeah, you beat Alabama. Yeah, you did beat LSU that one time in 7 overtimes. Yeah. But after that, there's really nothing much to look forward to. You never made it close to winning the West. You never made it close to making an SEC championship. You never made it close to being an actual threat to college football. Nothing good came. Yes, I understand that the spotlight was on him, but maybe the spotlight can get to you a little. Yeah. The spotlight can get to you. It can blind you from what the future really holds, and I think that's what happened. They had the recruits, but also, you can buy as many recruits as you want, but you can't buy games. I said that last time. I'll say it again.
Yep.
You can buy them, but it's not going to guarantee you wins. It can guarantee you some big wins, but it's not going to guarantee you a championship.
Yep. Couldn't agree.
You don't have a culture.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it feels like Mike Elko is a big culture guy with what he did at Duke. I don't know if you saw his thing today. The whole it was a little culty, but I'll show it to you. I
never got to see it.
Press conference today. Let's see.
I agree with you too. He did do a good job at Duke because nobody thought Duke would be be where they're at right now. They did fall off at one point. But at the beginning to the middle of the season, they were looking like one of the best teams in the ACC.
I agree. All right, here we go. I'm going to show you what it looked like here.
Oh yeah, dude, I did see that. Never mind. Yeah, Texas A&M fans are weird, bro. That school is a cult by itself.
It wasn't. I don't mind it, but it's also like, all right, it's a little.
Do you see what they do during Halloween, bro? They like get torches and pumpkins and all. It's weird. Like they do a march, bro. It's some weird type of like. It's pretty sure it's a cult. Like there's nobody can tell me that otherwise. That school is just weird when it comes to stuff like that. But I mean, when you lose a lot, then it's okay to be weird, I guess.
Yeah, let's hear what Mike Elko had to say addressing, I guess, media here. Let's see here. Let's pull this up here.
I'm back in Aggie land. I'm back where I belong.
That was such a long pause.
Home for 4 amazing years.
Pick up the pace.
This is a special time to be the leader of this great football program. From the moment I came down here back in 2018, I've been blown away by this place. Okay, resourced as the premier football program in the country, supported by the 12th man, the absolute best fan base in the country, a football program and university.
Oh, dude, nope. That's like a 6-9 season or 6-8 season coming up right there. Oh my God, get out of here with that garbage, bro. The most premier football program in the country. Did you not just see their record? They just fired their head coach. You're just the next one that's lined up ready to bat, man. Oh my gosh, there's no way he just said that. Get him out of here. Yeah, that dude, 6-8 record right there, 100%.
6-8. I love that, brother. I love that.
Like, no way. When he has to play against he's never played against I guess he's never played against an Alabama or an LSU as a head coach or Georgia. No. We're gonna find out.
Hey, he's gonna find out. He's definitely
gonna find out the hard way because they have to play Texas next year.
Oh, jeez.
They're bringing that great one back too. Remember when they were in the Big 12?
I remember. They haven't done anything in the ACC, so I definitely remember.
Nope, it's going some BS right there. How dare you say that, sir? How dare you?
Yeah, I knew that would get you. I heard it earlier. I knew that was going to get you going.
That was just that's blasphemous.
It's some blasphemous stuff, man. Hey, let's go to a guy that is not saying as much blasphemous things, kind of mixed reviews, which is a little surprising for me personally. But the hire from Mississippi State, hiring Jeff Lebby, offensive coordinator over there at Oklahoma, as their next, head coach. Thoughts on the move? Like I said, it's there's some rumbles over here in Mississippi State land and Starkville. Some agree, some thought it's a good move. Some think it's kind of just a horizontal move, not really taking a step forward type of move. What are your thoughts on it, CDM?
I mean, this is the one move that scares me, honestly. I mean, he has no head coaching experience. Okay. He's coming into a tough conference that's just going to straight SEC play next year. They'll have some non-conference games, but after those games, it's just straight SEC play. So it's not – I don't think it's the best move. I feel like you could have really dug deep in the coaching job or the coaching poll and just found somebody that at least had some head coaching experience. It's going to be an experiment. Mississippi State is definitely in a rebuild phase for the program, especially. I mean, losing Mike Leach was just a hard hit right there, man. Yep. I mean, it sucked. I hated it for the university. I hated it for the program and the players. But this one right here just doesn't fit right. I just don't see it. I don't see it settling for long. I don't really see it settling for long. If he figures something out, then obviously he's doing what he needs to do. But it's obviously Mississippi State is going through like a rebuild phase for their program, trying to figure out an identity, especially if Will Rogers is to leave. Yeah,
and that's a player that when I heard the news, I was like, maybe he pulls the transfer, doesn't leave, but he's in the transfer portal, so it's official. Yeah. But
I mean, he's done all he can.
Yeah, I mean, the stats say what they want and say what they. I mean, they speak the words that need to be spoken in a way. I don't hate the move personally. It came down to me, another situation of how many coaches are really out here looking for jobs. It's not like there's a guy like a big time name that's like, I'm done with this university, I'm going to another team. It's not like a Dabo was just floating around. It's not like a kind of even like a Brian Kelly was. No one thought that he would leave Notre Dame, but he did. There wasn't a guy like that just at a university to just purge. It didn't feel like that was a possibility for A&M. You heard all the names. You heard the Dabos. You heard the Ryan Days. And, why would you leave those programs for this program? That's a pivot, especially for, going to Mississippi State. I'm interested because I heard I actually got that mixed up. I was reading the wrong thing. Those were A&M rumors, my fault. When it came to Mississippi State, you hear the Coach O's. You hear some certain names. You hear some rumbles for some kind of a championship coach, a Coach O. Hey, you might go back after Dan Mullins, which is absolute craziness because I know a lot of Mississippi State fans hate Dan Mullins, and then all of a sudden they like the guy again when they need a coach. So, when it came down to it, it's like, all right, how many coaches are out here? How many are we able to pull from? And do we go after a guy that's gonna, he might a guaranteed 8 wins, but that's the best he's gonna do? Or do you take a wild card on a guy that, everywhere he's had an offense, they've done pretty damn good, with Jeff Lebby. Yeah. So it felt like, all right, this is a move. Oh, TJ Hawkinson, Tutty. This felt like a move that was like, all right, that's good. That's a good move to kind of maybe take a chance and maybe take a run at something. I'm not saying they're going to win the SEC or nothing with this guy, but hey, take a chance on a guy. Let a guy maybe come in, reestablish a culture. The proof is in the pudding that he can coordinate. Can he lead a team? We'll see about that. That's a whole entire different ball game. But I didn't hate the move. I think it's a good move. They'll win about 6 or 7 games. They'll be bowl eligible next season, which is all. Hey, that's a step forward with how bad this team was.
Getting bowl eligible is the biggest one. And if you think it's a safe move, I can see why you think it's a safe move, and that's your opinion. It's just like it doesn't settle for me. It's not like. I don't feel like it's going to be – I'm not expecting it to be 1-2 years, bam, they're competing again. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I expect it to just be – I don't expect it to be the smoothest road for Jeff Lebby and this Mississippi State program. It could work out. It could not work out. It's totally – he holds his cards now. Like he is – it's up to him and what he has to do and what he can do.
Yeah, that's a valid reasoning. It's the new guy on the block. It's hard to kind of – is he going to be a good head coach? We've seen a lot of great coordinators not be able to pull it off as a head coach. So can he do it? We shall see. Let's talk about a head coach that did get purged from a university to go to another university. I mean, this university that Michigan State, they've been to a playoff before. It's not like they can't win games. They're in a conference. If you win the conference, you're going to a playoff, And
38-0 though.
And they were bad. That's crazy. They won that conference that year. There were some bad teams.
Should they? Probably not. They probably shouldn't have.
They won the games they needed to win.
They did. They beat Ohio State.
That's a thing they have not been doing at all this season. They've been getting absolutely destroyed. The whole Mel Tucker thing, we talked about it on here. We don't want to assume or nothing, but obviously the rumors are not great, and he was fired for those reasons. And man, they've been bad. And it's crazy because it felt like when they got Mel, this team might be back on track, and they might be able to pull together a good culture once again and get back to competing in that conference. And after everything happens, everything blows up, and the team's not great, and their 2 quarterbacks are in the transfer portal now, so
they suck.
They're not good, and they both hit the transfer portal,
awful.
And their team is terrible. So they said, we got to make a move. We got to change something now, and they do by bringing in Jonathan Smith, head coach for Oregon State. And I'll tell you, it's not easy to win out there in Corvallis against those teams, and they have done a lot of that winning this season and in past seasons. It's not like this is just a one-year thing. And the Oregon State's been pretty good for the last few years, and they bring in DJ, and they had a chance for the conference. So,
did you see his reaction to the news when he got hired as the head coach?
I have not.
Hey, DJ put on there. He said, with a sad emoji.
That's right. I need to see that. Let's see.
Yeah. I mean, this is one head coaching job I do like. It does suck because he was making moves at Oregon State. He put Oregon State back to where they needed to be, and that's competing in the Pac-12. Now going into the now Oregon State's going into the Big Ten next year, so he probably has to play against Oregon State, his former team.
Yeah.
I like this one. Just because it is, that one right there. It is heartbreaking because that makes me think that DJ's staying another year.
Yeah, people are telling him to follow him.
It wouldn't be bad.
That'd be interesting.
It wouldn't be a bad idea. Be around the coach that's really mentored you up since you came from Clemson.
Hey, put your best ball with him.
Yeah, you had no confidence in you had no confidence. You were at your lowest point, in my opinion. And Jonathan Smith really brought that out into you, helped him blossom. And plus, the offense that he had around him was good. That offense was great. The Oregon State, the Washington game showed it. The Oregon game did not show it, but Oregon's playing on a different level right now.
Yep.
But hiring Jonathan Smith is the next big step that they made. Because, we've seen Michigan State compete. We've seen what this team can really do when they have the right coach and the right players at the right positions. So this hire is going to be able to put them back on track to not really, compete with the big dogs like Michigan and Ohio State and Penn State, but be able to make a push to be kind of near their level of competition. I think it's going to be able to push them past the limits of, hey, if we continue to do what we're doing and not come in last place in the Big Ten, not come second to last. I'm talking about at least top 5 or top 6 in that division. Because if you do that, that just shows that you're able to compete with those types of players.
Fumble.
What happened?
Fumble.
Oh, no.
Justin Fields, get this guy off the field.
Unbelievable. Dude, they're getting Caleb Williams.
They're getting Caleb.
They're getting Caleb. But Jonathan Smith, the Jonathan Smith's hire is really good. He'll be able to bring in some star-studded recruits, especially in the transfer portal. He is one of the coaches that takes advantage of the portal. So who knows? DJ easily could follow him to Michigan State. It'd be really gross and weird to see him in a Michigan State uniform.
That
it would just not sit right. But also going into the Big Ten is more competition, better competition, better chances of making a playoff game.
Yep.
It's going to be hard. It's a harder road than the Pac-12 is. Right now the Pac-12 was already hard enough this year, but the Big Ten next year is going to be 10 times harder when you add in teams of Washington, Oregon, UCLA, USC, Michigan, Oregon State as well. I think it's a great hire and a good. I think Michigan State's going to be able to look upward towards this and towards the future of that program.
Yeah, man, you said it best. I hate to see the guy leave, but this gives you a much better opportunity to win the big games. You have opportunities against Ohio State or Michigan. You got all those games that, you're not getting in the Pac-12. This year was a different year. If you beat a Washington and an Oregon and you don't lose, to Washington State, you're right in the middle of it. You're in the playoffs.
Yeah.
And it was a different year for the Pac-12. Obviously, that the Pac-12 is dead after this year, but this is a smart move for a guy that is at the peak of his career. Get the bag, see what you can do at a Michigan State. It's not going to be easy, like you said, man. You're going against the top dogs, man, some of the best teams in the entire country consistently, and now you got to try and get on their level. That's tough. But if there's a guy that can do it, I do believe in Jonathan Smith. What he was able to do out there in Corvallis, a team that, historically, really not the greatest football team. They've had good seasons in the past, but since he's been there, they've been pretty dang good at football. So,
oh yeah.
Bringing in DJ, you had an actual quarterback. They gave you a chance, and couldn't pull it off this year. But I was impressed with Oregon State all season, and what he can do to Michigan, like you said, transfer portal, recruiting. He can get them right back on the map, and I'm really intrigued with what he can possibly do out there in Michigan State.
I think he can get it done for sure. It's going to be a work in progress. Like all these head coaches, you're not going into teams that are built. All of these head coaches that have gotten hired have to go in and build their own culture. That's what college football is all about. You have to have a culture for a team. If you don't have a culture, if you don't have a standard, then you're not going to really you're not going to excel to your limits, to your expectations. Yep. So it's going to take time. It's going to be a rough couple years going into this, but if they all just settle down, get their heads straight and just be the head coaches that they plan to be, then they can all fully succeed. But the two in the SEC are going to have, they're all going to have hard roads now because they're all in tougher conferences. They're no longer he's no longer an OC. You're head coach into a new conference, and then you have the other one, Jonathan Smith, going into a new conference. So it's all going to be a work in progress. But if they all settle down and get it done, then each one can excel to their expectations.
Yep. I'm intrigued. I love to see new hires to better teams. Got to root for them in a slight way. Obviously, when you're playing them, you hope they're the worst coach of all time. But when you're not, it's like, okay, we'd love to see this guy kind of turn this team around. So we'll be rooting for them. We'll be watching them as they progress into next season. Speaking of next season, these guys might be playing for new teams. Most likely will be. Some of them are rumored, so not guaranteed, but a lot of these guys have hit the portal, meaning they're going to be playing in a new spot next season. The portal has gone absolutely ballistic this year. I wish I had the exact number on me, but it's like impossible with, all the small.
The transfer portal is so scary because a lot of people are saying, because you don't know where anybody's going to go. You don't know who could leave. A lot of people are putting out that Shedeur and Travis Hunter should transfer to Florida State, which would be terrifying because that offense would be scary good.
That's interesting.
It's just because Colorado has no offensive line at all. It's terrible over there. Poor Shedeur's getting 55 sacks, most sacked quarterback in college football. That's insane.
Yeah.
But a lot of new names entered in a lot of new places and new places and new faces is what I'm seeing.
Yeah.
One name, a couple of names. The first name that comes up to is Max Johnson. Max Johnson's entering the transfer portal for the second time. Just finished the season at Texas A&M, got injured and couldn't really finish the season out, which does suck, but he is good. We've seen what Max Johnson can do. The left-handed gunslinger. Dude's insane. Watching him throw touchdowns to his brother was awesome. When can you ever see a brother-to-brother touchdown, though? Yeah. When can you ever see that? It's insane. But Max Johnson, there's a lot of teams that could use him here. I got 4 teams and that could really use a quarterback after this season because next season is going to be hard. A lot of teams next season are going to need a veteran quarterback, somebody who knows the game of football to be able to get into that 12-man playoff or to make a push. The teams that I think Max Johnson could go to, Florida State obviously being one of them. You lose Jordan after this year. I'm not confident in the backup quarterback that they have now. Depending on what the recruitment class is like, they could be getting a quarterback. I think they have a 4-star quarterback coming in, but it wouldn't be a bad fit for Max Johnson to go down to Tallahassee and see what he can do, probably tear it up. Notre Dame is another one. You lose Sam Hartman after this year. You need another quarterback that can put the ball downfield. That's what they did a lot this year. Instead of just ground and pound, they were able to put the ball downfield over the middle, out to the edges. Washington's another interesting team after next year because you lose Michael Penix Jr. So Washington, and plus you get another lefty in Washington. That'd be really cool to see. You don't lose the different. You still get the same spin on the ball. That's a small thing. And then the last team that I think could really use a quarterback would be the Iowa Hawkeyes. I feel like that's a team because McNamara didn't play out like they unfortunately planned. Due to injury, so that sucked. He got knocked out for the rest of the season. But Iowa's one team because they have the worst offense in college football. They are literally the worst offense in college football. Yeah. So adding a quarterback like that and possibly surrounding him with talent could help out a lot. So Florida State, Notre Dame, Washington, Iowa are the teams that I think Max Johnson could go to and that could need a quarterback next season.
I like those. Those are some solid squads. Yeah, and it's hard because easily like a Max Johnson could go to a really bad conference and, start in a lot of places. I just don't think that. He's played in the SEC. I imagine he's going to get some SEC interest. So I'm leaning SEC for most of my teams. My first team is the Auburn Tigers. Obviously, we'll talk about them later. But besides this week, They had horrible quarterback play. It was just a non-existent position. Obviously,
when you have to play multiple quarterbacks, trust me, Alabama knows that from week 2.
Yeah.
I mean, from week 3, it's not the best idea.
It's the old saying: if you got two quarterbacks, you got none. So, that's one of the guys I had to pick here teams I had to pick here because if they got a Max Johnson, that'd be really interesting because Hugh Freeze has done his best when he's had not a great quarterback, competent quarterback play. Literally, that was when he's at his best. We could talk about Malik Willis. He had a great season, but it wasn't like he was some superstar, Heisman candidate. You look at the Ole Miss days, he had guys that were good, but not Heisman candidates. So,
Bo Wallace.
But that's what I'm saying. It's like just guys that won football games. Max Johnson, he does a lot of things, there's some things you don't like, but he does win football games. Like he's a winning quarterback in college. I don't know exactly what his record is, but it feels like he finds a way to win certain games. He doesn't win the big ones, but that can change. That's one team I had. Another team I had was they're losing this guy most likely, I guess, to the draft, or if he's just got to go because he's like old as shit. You got to go Tennessee here.
Oh, true. Well, no. They have the 5-star.
I know. They have the 5-star. I know they do, but maybe you bring in a Max Johnson for a safety valve. I imagined that the 5-star is going to start. He might just be the guy, and they don't bring in a Max Johnson. I don't think it would be a bad idea to bring in a Max Johnson. Hey, compete with this job with this guy. Stay in the SEC. We're not guaranteeing you anything, but if you win the job, it's your job. So I don't know if he would like to go there because you got just this amount of pressure behind you that, all right, if you make too many mistakes, they're going to put the new guy in. Like, I don't know if he would go to Tennessee. I just don't. I think that'd be a fun fit for him to kind of stay in the SEC. Another team I had is the Oklahoma Sooners. Dillon Gabriel will have to go this season. Yeah, so
I don't know about that one either. I mean, they do have some quarterback. They do have another quarterback, General
Booty.
General Booty entered the transfer portal.
Oh my gosh!
Booty is gone.
Breaking news! What the heck? But
General Booty. Y'all think I'm joking? That's his name.
That is his name. But the only reason I said him too was kind of your similar reasoning for Washington. Lefty. Kind of a similar-ish player, not as nearly as good of a runner, obviously, but he's got arm talent for days, and
he is a pocket passer.
He can rope the ball. So, these are my favorites. Auburn. These are just other teams I'm throwing into the picture because they're going to need a guy, and then just because they're going to need a guy, probably. I don't know who their backup is. I'm pretty sure it's no one good. Yeah, no, unless they go to transfer. Notre Dame. They can win games. They can win big games with a quarterback. Sam Hartman won a lot of games, couldn't win the bigger ones. Obviously, got some pretty tough losses this season, but Max Johnson could probably, if academically, that's a big thing. But if he went there, I think he could, make a run. I
think he could make a run games, for
sure. So those are my teams that I had for Max Johnson. Ooh, all right. Hey, let's go into.
Speaking of Texas A&M, staying there. Evan Stewart.
Yeah.
Are the rumors true that he is in the portal?
Let's see. I don't think he's actually in the portal, but.
I heard rumors are floating around that he's thinking about it. If he does, then here are 5 schools really fast that I think that could go after a top 5 wide receiver in college football. If Evan Stewart is to enter the transfer portal, the teams that I think that he could go to that are on the top list to get him would be Alabama.
Oh, you'll love this on top of that. This was on his Instagram this weekend, CDM.
You don't want those problems. You don't want those problems. You do not want those problems. You do not want those. Okay, as I was saying, so if he is to go, Alabama is obviously one choice. You have LSU, who's also another choice. You lose Malik Neighbors. You lose, what's the other one's name?
Thomas.
Brian Thomas. You lose both of those. Georgia's another one, which would be absolutely terrifying. Michigan is another one as well. If you can get a quarterback over there, if JJ is to stay, which if JJ better stay, because he better stay. He is not getting drafted. But Michigan is one, and then my last one is Penn State. If you get Drew Aller, a top 5 wide receiver, I promise you, good things will happen. So those are my teams that I think Evan Stewart could go to, that he could ball at. Alabama, LSU, Georgia, Michigan, Penn State. I wanted to throw Ole Miss in there because that would be filthy. That would be disgusting.
That's actually a nice little curveball of a guy. Yeah. It's what I would probably say to Evan is, first of all, get out of there. First of all,
leave now. You
have not been utilized at all since you've been there, and he had some crazy catches against LSU where I was like, okay, this guy, like this is ridiculous. Like, come on, how is this guy not more known? Like, we know who Evan Stewart is from recruiting. We knew the guy. And
his freshman year, he was a dog.
And he was a dog. Like, he has had moments, and obviously just quarterback reasonings and everything that happened at A&M, he just hasn't had his full opportunity. And so for me, you laid out a couple I feel like are obvious. I think if he hits the portal, it's to go to Bama. Like,
oh my God,
that's who I would put money on if you were asking me. And my favorite, if you want to be the number one without a doubt, is Penn State.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to get a lot of opportunities there. You're going to get just as big of a spotlight out of Penn State if you ball.
Oh, dude, I totally forgot a school. Oh my God,
who?
Notre Dame.
Yeah, there you go. Notre Dame. That's another good one.
They're a good one. Good school.
It would be. I liked your Michigan one a lot because even though Roman, he's there now, but it's just like that. That's like really their only like elite receiver. And
you need more than just one elite receiver.
That's a tough word to put around.
That's a stretch right there.
And so, another guy that I really liked, a team I really liked as well. You're going to lose some talent at this position. And I doubt he sticks around. He could. Like, he can stay around. I don't think so with his quarterback leaving. Wouldn't maybe mind seeing an Oregon maybe go after an Evan Stewart.
Oh, Ty Thompson. Ty Thompson after Bo Nix leaves this year. Ty Thompson's finally going to get a start.
Franklin's gone, so you got there.
Franklin is gone.
I doubt he stays. If he stays, he's stupid. But
he would not be smart. I'm sorry. He's like a first-round talent.
And the Bears take the lead. Oh, my goodness.
Dude, there's no way the Bears are about to win this game.
Vikings are so annoying, man.
10 seconds. I'm counting. I'm calling it. Kickoff return.
Oh, my God. If they do this, we're going to freak out. But, yeah, those are really my teams for Evan Stewart. I mean, he could really go anywhere if he wants to, and he would probably be the guy to go like up to Maryland or something like that. Oklahoma was another team I kind of wanted to throw in there, but we'll see. Losing Levy, I'm interested in what they do on offense and Dylan, but those are the teams I had. Let's go to the team in this state that we're doing this podcast in, Mississippi State.
Mississippi State.
And neither one of us are fans, but we know how good Will Rogers is. We've seen him play some ball from high school to now, and man, he has really blossomed to a pretty damn good quarterback. Enough so that he's getting some national recognition on where he may land. So CDM, I'm gonna send this to you. He is yards away. Not a lot of yards. He is yards away from breaking the SEC record for passing yards in a career. CDM, do you think he stays in the SEC or maybe branches off? What you got here? What teams?
I got 2 teams. I got 3 teams that are not in the SEC. I do have one. First off, Will Rogers, one of the most prolific passers in college football. I mean, when he was in the air raid system, he was slinging it, and I mean, he put it on a dot too. Dude's got an insane arm.
Bro, he almost took that to the house.
Oh, Hail Mary, Tom. Will Rogers, one of the best passers in college football. I mean, but the worst part that happened one of the worst parts that happened besides Leach passing is the whole new scheme around him now. A whole new scheme around offense where you're not being able to sling the rock, where you actually have to hand the ball off. And it sucks being in a new system where you have to figure out everything, especially when you're not used to slinging the ball 60 times a game and throwing over 500 yards a game. But teams that could use him and his leadership for sure and his arm talent, the SEC team that I have is Texas A&M. That's who I have.
Okay.
I think if you are to start, I think if you're going to start over a new program. Oh,
sorry. We gotta watch this. Y'all.
Oh my God.
What's that backwards?
Toss it.
Oh, that was a forward pass. I think they're gonna call that.
Yeah.
Going the wrong way, guys.
That's a game. Oh my gosh.
Oh, that's it.
It's just backyard football now.
All right. GG's.
Yeah, that was just a terrible game. First off, it was garbage.
Horrible.
Why would you ever? Don't ever put the Bears on primetime again.
Primetime has been horrible all season, man.
Like, it's been god awful. I still don't understand why the Bills and Eagles were not Sunday night football, or at least Monday night football. But Will Rogers, Texas A&M is one of the is the SEC team that I think he could, if he wants to stay in the SEC. That's one you're able to restart a program that really hasn't been promised everything since Jimbo's been there. So Texas A&M, Notre Dame, another team that really needs a quarterback after this season. So Notre Dame being one of them. Going into the Big Ten, I think Wisconsin. Wisconsin, another fun team in the Big Ten. If you want to go over there and jump around a little bit and be a Wisconsin Badger, lead that team to somewhere that they've never been before, or they haven't been in a while, and that's totally because they have an amazing run game and they have some solid wide receivers. And then another team is Nebraska. Nebraska, sending them to Nebraska, be part of the corn for a season, see what it's like. It probably would be terrible, but that would be another great direction that Nebraska could go. Get a solid quarterback that can lead your team, bring some leadership, and bring true talent that Nebraska hasn't had in a while. Nebraska hasn't had a really good quarterback since I can remember. When was the last time Nebraska had an elite quarterback that was talked about?
I mean,
exactly.
Martinez was hyped up, but he was never that good.
Oh God, no, he's trash. But those are my teams: Texas A&M, Notre Dame, Wisconsin, and Nebraska. The ones that I think Will Rogers could stay in. I really would like to see him stay in the SEC, but if he wants to branch out and try and go take his own direction and build his own type of way, then that's totally up to him. I love Will Rogers, dude. He's a great quarterback.
Yeah, he is, man, and. Obviously, the system you were talking about, you're not going to get that system anywhere else. It's like no one was that kind of an air raid ever, as much as Leach was, and yeah, he's not going to get in that system ever again. But there are similar-ish systems when it comes to the pass is kind of the run in a way. They lean on the pass more than the run, and that's who he is. When you get put in a system he was this season, you see him at his worst, and what a surprise. He had played this one system his almost entire career, and now you throw him into this weird no identity system. They've tried to run the ball, but they didn't have an elite run game, so it's like, what is that? So
didn't have an elite offensive line either.
No, he didn't, and so he was not going. There was no success that could possibly happen. So when I was looking at teams, I looked at the teams with the best passing offenses and kind of imagine what they would be without their quarterback if they're going to lose them. And I kind of had to lean into first team. I got to go with LSU Tigers here. I would not be shocked with the LSU Tigers making a move after a Will Rogers type player. Experienced. Brian Kelly proved that he likes experienced quarterbacks. With LSU bringing in a Jayden Daniels, this feels like a move that I would not be shocked by, kind of getting an older guy to come in to play for a team that they're not. No one's saying LSU's ready to win a championship next year, but if you bring Will Rogers in, it feels like, all right, at least we got a quarterback that can win bigger games. I'm not saying he's a championship quarterback by any means right now. He hasn't really got a chance to even show that off, but he can play football, and you don't have to worry nearly as much about him. There's not as much of a question mark surrounding him. Rumors around town, I don't know if this is going to happen. I've heard some rumors rattling around about maybe an Ohio State. Some Ohio State fans might be calling for his name. That is basically because Kyle McCord is terrible, and they're saying anybody. please, anybody come play for our team. That's just rumors. Probably not true at all.
Don't know how that kid was a 5-star, but
ain't no questions asked. But I'm gonna stick to the SEC here as well, and I think this team should go after every quarterback in the portal. In Auburn, if they can get a quarterback, they prove that they've got a pretty dang good running game with that 2-man punch at the running back position versus Alabama this weekend, and the defense it's an SEC defense. They can step up when needed, and it's easier to play defense when you got a quarterback that can actually put points on the board. So Auburn is going to be in pretty much all of my quarterback transfer talks. Another team, once again, I'm going to go with Oklahoma, kind of getting into this because Dylan Gabriel, he's gone. Why not get him into that system where they like to pass the ball, but also not sure if that's a perfect fit. Another team I thought of. It's a little bit of a North Carolina.
Ooh,
North Carolina.
Ooh,
losing Drake May.
You do lose Drake May.
I wouldn't mind seeing him in the Tar Heel blue. You know what I'm saying? That baby powder blue.
I picture that in my mind, and it kind of feels right.
That's what I'm saying, man.
Kind of looks right.
When I was looking, I was like, "Ooh, that's the interesting. That'd be the fun team for him to go to, right?" Just kind of curveball everybody. Obviously, there's the Oregons and Washingtons that throw the piss out of the ball, but I just don't know if he would want to go to a Pac-12. Well, sorry, not Pac-12 anymore.
Big Ten team.
That's still, I don't know about all that. So those are my teams that I really saw when I was looking at some of these stats. Like that would be an interesting fit. My favorite, just as a fan, would be North Carolina. I wouldn't mind seeing him in purple and gold though. So Will Rogers, we'll see where you go, brother. You might just like pull a curveball and go to Southern Miss. Hey, to the top, brother.
Oh, I thought you were going to say Ole Miss. I was like, that's the biggest gut punch as a Mississippi State fan.
That'd be so bad. Oh, my God.
Just right there, done.
Be immediately hated for the rest of your life.
100%. You'd be like the Dan Mullins when he left and went to Florida, dude. You'd be hated.
Hated. Just pure hatred. Jeez. Don't even want to imagine that. All right. Let's keep this thing going to Will Howard. This one was a shocker.
That was weird. That was a weird one. When I saw that pop up on Instagram, I was just like, I mean, yeah, you win the Big 12 last year. You don't go back this year to defend your Big 12 title. So you've been there all 4 years of college. So maybe it is time for a change.
Yep.
And, that is another big quarterback that's a veteran that knows what to do in an offense type deal. So I'll start this one off real fast.
Yeah.
I think, 4 teams that come to mind to me. 1, Auburn. That would, as you said, needs a quarterback, has struggled with quarterback these past couple of years. So Auburn would be one. I'm going to throw in, what's the other team I said? Oh, right here. Florida State again. Once again, Florida State is right there needing a quarterback. Oklahoma right after them. And then Notre Dame. Notre Dame is like one of my main schools that needs a quarterback because you see what happens when they have a good quarterback. They produce numbers. They get down the field more. But that's what my 4 teams: Auburn, what was that? Auburn, Notre Dame, Florida State, and who else did I say? It deleted it.
Wait, yeah. You said which teams did you say?
I said Auburn, Florida State, Notre Dame, and Oklahoma. Those are the teams.
There it is.
Those are the teams. Plus going the worst thing about going to Oklahoma if you're a quarterback is you don't play in the Big 12 anymore. You're playing in the SEC next year.
Yeah.
So that's like the biggest thing is like you're going to have to play against the best competition.
Yes, you are. And
which he can do that. Like, I mean, he's a field general quarterback. We saw what he could do. He's gritty. He knows where to he can put the ball downfield. He's athletic. He does have some wheels on him. He is big. He's like 6'4", 6'3",
he's a big
200 plus. Like he's a big guy. He can take a hit.
6'5".
Yeah, 6'5", at least 220 plus probably.
Yeah, probably.
But he can get the job done. We've seen what he can do at Kansas State.
Yep.
He kind of brought Kansas State back from the depths of suck because they did suck for a while.
Yeah.
They were terrible. But those are the teams that I feel like he could go and make an impact for. And I hate that they're in the SEC, but I mean, if you want to be the best, you got to play against the best.
Yes, you do. And I'm interested because Will Howard, was the shocker of the day when I saw the news. Kansas State did lose to Iowa State, and it was maybe he was kind of like, I'm not going to win here. Like, we're not going to win the big games at Kansas State. You win the conference last year, cool. TCU still made the playoffs, all right. But if they were going to win a year, it would have been last year, and this year that just wasn't the case either. So I get why he left. When it comes to teams, I don't want to just sound like a broken record, so I'll just kind of Auburn is all, like I said, they're going to be in there. Ohio State is a fun one for me. A lot of Ohio State fans are calling for this guy after hearing the news. Like, please, please, please,
please help us.
Just Ohio State fans are praying to get Will Howard. It feels like
they're praying to get anybody at quarterback, bro. Losing to Michigan 3 years in a row is just unacceptable.
It's getting loud. We'll
talk about that. We'll talk about that in a minute.
Yes, we will. So those are the two teams. I had another team. I don't think that he goes here just because they're not going to compete. I feel like he's going to try his best to go to a team that is at least closer to competing. Maybe a South Carolina. Rattler going?
They had Spencer Rattler and they still couldn't compete.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They're not going to be good with him, but maybe you don't land on the big teams. You have to go somewhere else. And then
Kentucky is a better option than that.
Oh, jeez. Yeah, Leary didn't have his worst day. But
no, he didn't. He played pretty good.
Some other fun teams, just three. I'm just going to rattle, or two. I'm just going to rattle off here. USC and Washington.
Oh, those are two interesting teams just because the new conference next year. Yeah. That is interesting.
I don't think he goes to probably any of these teams, but maybe Ohio State is probably more confident one.
He probably wouldn't go to USC since their quarterback room's already stacked there as it is.
It is stacked. So, I mean, like these quarterback rooms around the country are just stacked. It's about, hey, do you want to get a grad transfer that's seen it all, won a conference championship? I mean, there's not a lot of these guys just walking around with this kind of experience. So, interesting character in the portal right now with Will Howard. We'll run through this one. Rumor alert. This is not
rumors.
This is all rumors. So don't hold this to us. Arch Manning might be hitting the portal, brother. Who do you think the favorite is?
I don't think it happens, first off. Like, that's just me. I don't think it happens is the reason it's rumors. I don't think it happens. I think he sticks it out at Texas because anyway, he's going to play in the SEC. I mean, after this year, he's in the SEC. So he'll be playing there anyway. But if he is to go, then the top of the list is LSU. Then you have Ole Miss, who I think could make a very big push. Georgia. And then Ohio State. Yeah. Which, if he goes to Ohio State and they develop him, then he could do good. But if he goes to LSU, like LSU was on his top list for sure. And then you have Ole Miss where, Uncle Eli played. And then, Grandpa Archie played. Both solidified themselves as legends there. Both ended up being number 1 overall picks. So, I mean, if he is to transfer, I think he is to stay in the SEC no matter what. I think the only team that's not in the SEC that he goes to is Ohio State.
Yeah, I agree. I would say that the number 1 team would be LSU just because hometown. He grew up literally hours away from Baton Rouge. It makes sense for him to maybe make a pit stop back home and kind of finish, get the career going there. A lot of Ohio State fans want this guy. There was a legend out here that was imploring for Arch Manning to get transferred. It was, Maurice Claret, Ohio State legend, must be back in the day.
Don't know who that is.
Yeah, me neither. He is imploring for the guy to make the move, and I think it's more likely he goes to LSU or follows his, uncle's footsteps in Tennessee or Ole Miss or Auburn, maybe, or Tar Heels. He's going to go where he can start. He's not going to go somewhere where he's going to do the same exact thing all over again. So I also agree, like, he picked an SEC-ish team for a reason. He picked Texas for a reason. I think half of it was so he can play in the SEC at some point. So, yeah, all rumors. But, hey, I promise you, the LSU Tigers will welcome you, Arch Manning. We will welcome you with open arms.
I wanted to put Alabama in some of these, but we're set. We're done. We're good.
Besides Evan Stewart, I felt.
Besides Evan Stewart and Milroe, we trust.
Yeah.
But I think that'll cover the transfer portal and coach talk. Now we get into the nitty gritty, the good stuff, the things that you have all been waiting for us to talk about. Game recap. And what better game to start off with than the game of the week. I wouldn't say game of the year, but very much so the most hyped game of the season. You had the Ohio State Buckeyes going into Ann Arbor and losing 30-24. Nate, since you are so high on the Michigan Wolverines, you take this over for me. How did you feel about Michigan taking over 3 straight years in a row and beating the Ohio State Buckeyes, giving Ryan Day an 0-3 record against the Wolverines? And this one's even better. It's without Jim Harbaugh. So tell me how you feel about that one.
I told you here first. The Buckeyes are frauds.
You did.
Michigan is better than the Buckeyes.
Mm-hmm. It
is over. I am so happy that this bum team, good defense, mid-offense, is off our radar. I'm so sick and tired of these pundits. Ohio State's the best team. They got the best resume. Yeah, they're the best team. They're the best team. They got the best player in the country. Blah, 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 blah. Stop it. You have eyeballs. We use these things to see. I think that's what they're for mainly.
And that's what God gave us for.
Yeah, and I think that's their operation. That's their operating status. They are used to see. You can't tell me you haven't watched this team all season and said, yeah, Kyle McCord is a guy. And if you ever said that to yourself, you really need to get checked, because he has not shown I'll say one time he looked elite. And that was against Notre Dame for one freaking drive. And when they got that ball back, they said, all right, it's time for Kyle McCord to be Kyle McCord. He's already done it once this season. I was like, good, one time. He's done it one freaking time. And the Wolverines handled business, punched the Buckeyes in the mouth, just like they did last year and the year before. They've learned their lesson. Ryan Day, get the guy out of there. He can't win the big games. He's turned into James Franklin. There's a crazy stat about this guy in his record against top 10 teams. He doesn't win them. He doesn't win these games. What a shocker. I think he only beats Penn State. I'm done. Ohio State, I'm so sick and tired. I've let the fans mourn. I'm sick and tired of the garbage. Y'all have been spewing all season about this dang team. I was a guy coming into the season. I said it. I said, Ohio State, they're a team to watch. They're my number one team. But I had enough courage, understand. I was humble. I said, I was wrong. My eyes tell me this team's not there yet. Kyle McCord's not there yet. They're not as good as I thought that. I came into the season saying this is the best team, and I changed that because I'm humble. And I said Michigan's a better team. I know they played nobodies. I understand that wholeheartedly. But they also destroyed every single one of those teams.
Yes, they did.
It was never close. They never had a close game until Penn State. My case is rested. I've told everyone all season, Michigan was going to beat this team. Faith was never lost. Confidence is as high as ever. Your boy's never wrong. And there's another team that we're going to be talking about this week that I'm not losing confidence in either, because obviously I'm a prophet. I've told you all this once. I've told you a million times. Michigan is better than Ohio State, even without Jim Harbaugh on the sidelines. Case rested. Done deal. Wolverines going to the championship and probably going to lose, but they beat Ohio State.
You feel better now?
I do. I'm so sick and tired of Buckeyes fans.
I understand. I feel the same way, even though I did pick Ohio State. I don't like Michigan just because the whole scandal that came out. But
I understand.
respect is due, or respect is due. They got the job done. They are the owners of the Ohio State Buckeyes for 3 years straight.
Yes.
They have the best O-line in college football.
Yes.
They have the best running duo in college football. Their quarterback is mid. But, I mean, when you have an offense around you like that you don't have to throw the ball as much, then you don't have to do anything. Yeah, JJ did play a good game. He did throw the ball in some tight coverage. He did have some really good throws. But when you have a run game, when you have an offensive line like that you're not getting pressured half the time, and that you could just hand the ball off to Blake Corum and he'd take it 10, 15 yards, then there's really not much to do. But Ohio State did have moments. Ohio State did have moments where they had opportunities to take the lead, to change momentum and put it on their side, but they could not capitalize. They did have a couple of good plays. Marvin Harrison Jr. did have his day, did have over 100 yards and a touchdown. This was probably his last game as an Ohio State Buckeye. We'll be seeing him on Sundays next year for sure.
Oh, yeah.
But Kyle McCord, man, is not the guy. I think we figured that out. I think Ohio State figured that out now, that he is just not the guy to lead their team to the promised lands. Ryan Day, get your ass in that hot seat, dude, because you are on fire, bro. 3 years in a row is insane. Yeah, what they did to Michigan, what Ohio State used to do to Michigan was it's starting to come around, the shoe's on the other foot, but you also had Urban Meyer as your head coach. You didn't have Ryan Day.
Yep.
This is a whole different time in history where we honestly can say that Michigan is going to own Ohio State for a couple years. But Ohio State had moments where they could have won that game. They couldn't have won it, but they probably could have taken the lead, probably made it a bit harder on Michigan to win that game. But Michigan just took control at the line of scrimmage from beginning, middle, and end and shoved it down their throats. And it was it was a good game. It ended up being a better game than I expected it to be, especially towards the end. They had a chance. That fourth quarter, man, that final drive where it was a catch and a fumble and a recovery, I thought they had a chance. But ultimately, at the end of the day, Michigan's defense stepped up and got the job done. And Michigan right now looking like the best team in the country after what Georgia did to Georgia Tech. Not the most impressive win, but we'll talk about that. Michigan, man, just took control of the game, got the job done, gets to see Iowa in the Big Ten championship, and gets to be reclaimed as Big Ten championships because Iowa's not beat.
No, you don't got the Hawkeyes?
No, God, no. Whoever has the Hawkeyes is smoking crack.
You better put some money on it. You better put some
fat stacks on that game if you have Iowa winning that game. If Iowa wins that game, then I don't know what to believe in anymore. Wouldn't know what to believe in. But what a great game. Another great historic battle. But Michigan owns it now, man. Michigan's the top dog in the Big Ten now.
They are. They truly, truly are. We have seen the rise of Michigan after so many down years. It's kind of crazy to watch, man. It's kind of crazy.
It's crazy. But that'll cover that game. But now we get on to the best game of the night, the best game of the week. In my opinion, you can call me crazy. It's the best rivalry in college football. It puts asses in seats. I don't care what you say about Michigan and Ohio State. Okay, I don't see Alabama and Auburn getting swept 3 years in a row by each other. At least we split it with them. But the best rivalry in college football, the Iron Bowl. And my God, did we get another classic in Jordan Air Stadium. It was a good game. A really good game. And I will do this. I will give Auburn props. Auburn played like it was the last time this program will ever play college football. They came out and they wanted the game more. That first drive Alabama had when they went down and scored was beautiful. It looked flawless, motionless, smooth machine working together. And then it kind of bailed out. It kind of fell off. Auburn, that third drive where they just ran the piss out of the ball. That drive, 68 yards of just running the ball. They wanted it more. They wanted this win more, and I could see it the entire game. I was at work while watching this game, but I was surrounded by Alabama fans at the bar. And I could hear the excitement. I could hear the depression in their voices at times during the game. But, Auburn had Auburn's rushing game was on show. They had 244 rushing yards as a team, which is totally insane for Alabama to give up. Alabama's run defense obviously didn't show up. Their passing defense was good. It was there, but the run defense has got to be one thing you change coming into next week to an SEC championship. As I said, Bama's first drive, but after Bama's first drive, they really couldn't seem to get anything. They could go down the field. We just couldn't get in the end zone. That's one thing Alabama couldn't do. And it was weird to see that, especially after these couple of weeks of Alabama being dominant again, being able to go into the end zone on every drive. I mean, it was great. But then we talk about the game, the play that made it all. So Alabama gets the ball back. This one, 4th and 31, 4th and goal.
Unbelievable.
Touchdown. Can't believe that happened. So I was walking past the bar. I had one table.
Bond.
And
Isaiah Bond.
Agent 007, baby. What you talking about, baby? Right here. I mean, first off, that defensive coordinator has got to be seeing nightmares that night, bro. I mean, that's embarrassing. How do you let that happen? Like, how do you first off, Jalen Milroe that was game. That was playoff hopes on the line. And he came out and played, man. He wasn't the prettiest play. It wasn't like the prettiest game that Jalen Milroe had. He didn't have any interceptions, didn't have any turnovers, so that's really cool to see. But the way he looked in the pocket when he had to pass the ball was awesome. He had so much poise, so much pocket presence going around, being able to elude. First off, Auburn's stupid. I think I just have to get that out. Auburn's stupid because they didn't have a QB spy on them until the very end of the game.
At all.
So, and like, The two plays that really pissed me off were the plays where he went over the line of scrimmage.
Those are bad.
The first one was bad because you could have went and got a first down, but you threw it for a touchdown. If you stay behind the line, I'm pretty sure the touchdown's still there. But once he goes past the line, he has green grass. And then the other one where it became 3rd and 20. Before it became 3rd and 20, he rolls out and just tries to backpedal behind the line of scrimmage to get the ball off. Luckily, it was incomplete, thank God. But another illegal pass downfield, and it's 3rd and 20. And nobody will remember this play from Jalen Milroe. They'll remember 4th and Milroe. That's what we're going to call that play now, 4th and Milroe. We're going to recall that one. But the 3rd and 20 that he got, that he just rolls out of the pocket and just takes, he got boomstick. But he also boomsticked the defender because the defender was hurt on the field.
Yep.
And then we go for the 4th and 1 was beautiful. We line up for the tush push, and then we ended up pitching it out to Rory Williams, gets the first down, and then the bunch snap, bro. The center for Alabama, McLaughlin, has just been cheeks all year long. The Iron Bowl showed me that his snaps were just terrible. He messed up so many snaps. He messed up the motion of the offense. And then the one that got to 4th and goal, the snap that Milroe wasn't even ready for, and he goes behind him. But then the miracle is saved. So now I'm going to tell you this. You can remember kick 6 all you want, but I want you to know next time the Iron Bowl comes on next year, they won't be showing kick 6. They're going to be showing 4th and Milroe. And I'd also like to point this out. The last 2 times that Alabama and Auburn have played at Auburn has gotten screwed over by a deep bomb twice.
Yep.
The first one being, what's the balloons for?
Happy birthday, Carson.
No, it's not even my birthday, but thanks.
What the heck was that?
What the heck? I just saw balloons pop up on my screen, but okay. I could go on and on and on about this game. I can go on and on and on about how Auburn played a really good game, but at the end of the day, screw Auburn. Auburn's trash. Roll Tide roll. Auburn's garbage. War damn Eagle, my ass cheeks. Go Roll Tide. Alabama by 50. Right there, baby. Stamp it, print it, send it to the president. That's it. That's all I can say. Bama is Auburn's daddy. Let's just point that out right there. I feel better now. It feels great. But I want everybody to know I did almost die during this game. This game was not the prettiest game. It was not pretty at all. But by God, we got the job done. Yep. And that's all that matters. It's all that matters.
That is all that matters, man.
How did you feel about this game?
I mean, I love history, man. I can't lie. I just love history. And, I've got my feelings about Bama, obviously, with being an SEC fan to another team, a rival. it's hard to root for a team like that. And in this game, it's one of those things. It's a rivalry game. I'm here to just watch it. And, man, obviously you're switching back and forth. You're like, well, dang, it would be fun, just fun to see Auburn somehow pull off this craziness. Like, what? You just lost to New Mexico State. How's this even possible?
Yeah, that's what blows my mind.
It's like, and then it's Auburn. It's a rivalry game. It's always good. So then you kind of like, oh, it'd be hilarious just to see this happen. And then you see Milroe do what he did. And then there's a part of you who's like, oh, I can't. Alabama does it again. But it's just like history. Like, those are the plays that we will never forget. And you said it best. Like, everyone will forget the play at Milroe lit up the guy he got lit up on. Everyone's going to forget the botch snap. No one's going to remember those plays. Everyone is going to remember 4th and 31. No one's going to
4th and Milroe.
No one's going to forget that, man. And that's just a perfect way for a historic game and a historic rivalry to end, man. I mean, it just can't end any better than that. As a football fan, I live for those moments. Like, please.
Oh, dude, it was a beautiful moment. I wanted to be like the Auburn radio caller back in 2013. Auburn's going to win the football game. Alabama's going to win the football game. That's what happens. Plus, I'd also like to point this out. If you're an Auburn fan and you watch that game, I want you to know something. Get out of your feels. It's okay. Take it on the chin. Because I had an Auburn fan at my job press me. And I just don't know this dude's name, but I want you to know, buddy, get off the roids and support a team that can actually win a football game. Because it's not my fault that we won the game. This team right here won the game. This man pressed me because I said we. And he said, what position did you play? I was like, I played the highest fan. That's the one I played because my team won. I'm sorry that you and your wife have to dress up in that ugly orange and blue and have to put your kid through torture at school. That's probably why he gets bullied. But besides that, man, just take it on the chin. Be a man. It's okay. Be a real loser. Because if we were to lose that game, I'd have took it on the chin. I'd have been fine with it. It'd have been cool. We would at least went to a New Year's Six game. But guess what, baby? Playoff hopes are still alive. Roll Tide, roll.
They are. And I respect that because he was pissed. And it's like, bro, chill.
I wasn't even talking bad, bro. I just said Alabama won the game by the skin of their teeth, and he got pressed. Yep. Just eat your steak, big boy. It's going to be fine. Drink your Diet Coke. It's okay.
You're good, man. You're good. You can hit the weights after. You ain't got to press me about it.
It's okay. Just take that crap off your kid. I feel bad for him.
Yeah, just horrible.
Just horrible. But I mean,
a bully me sign on himself.
Just absolute cinema. The prayer in Jordan-Hare, it was gorgeous. It was awesome. And now we go on to bigger and better things. Not Auburn. Auburn can't go to a bowl game. Sucks to be y'all. Us, on the other hand, we're going to play for an SEC title, so it's different. But that'll cover the Iron Bowl for me. I feel this going into next week is going to be a big difference that we're going to have to change some things. But once again, just as you said before about a couple games, pure cinema. Pure cinema.
Pure.
But then we go on to this game, which was just, man. Louisville versus Kentucky. And I'll start this one off. Kentucky continues their 5-game winning streak against this team. It's the longest win streak between both teams in this rivalry. I didn't really get to watch this game as much. Some of the plays I did see, Louisville couldn't answer. Louisville couldn't answer the big plays, couldn't answer the tough situations that they were in. I did say kind of, but they looked like frauds. They looked like frauds on the field when it came to playing in crunch time situations. Miami, when they played against Miami, they drove down the field. They were fine. They got down there and scored. This one right here, I mean, Kentucky wanted it more. Kentucky wanted this game a lot more. Now Louisville playoff hopes are done. You have to go in and play an undefeated Florida State team without their starting quarterback. So you have the advantage. You have an advantage on this team without their starting quarterback. But the real question is, are you going to be able to answer in crunch time moments if they get up on you? Are you going to be able to shut down their running game that they established in the Florida game? Are you going to be able to make this new quarterback uncomfortable as well? There's questions that I'm going to need answers in this game. Other than that, Kentucky played one heck of a game. It was a fun game to watch, but it was also just kind of disappointing that Louisville, the most confusing team in the country, comes out with an L.
Yeah, it's tough. I hate that for Louisville. They're easy to root for, but not easy to bet on all season. And I had a feeling this was be an amazing game, and I was right about that. But I didn't think they would lose this game. Just Kentucky with their season, they haven't shown up in the big ones, and they, like you said, they came out ready, bro. And it was just a dogfight early on, and really Louisville had control of the game until we got to the fourth quarter, and then they just kind of lost control and couldn't keep up with the pace and made mistakes, and really it came down to Davis for Kentucky having another great day, and Leary making a lot of good throws. He didn't have a great day by any means. He really hasn't had a great season, but he made a couple big time throws late for Kentucky that I was like, all right, that's who they try to get in the transfer portal. That's the guy they tried to get.
Yeah, that's the NC State Leary that we're used to seeing.
Exactly.
Which, honestly, if he stayed at NC State, he probably would have a better season.
Yeah, they're ranked. So yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
And so it is kind of crazy to me that this happened, but Kentucky showed, like, hey, SEC ball, we still compete with everybody, man. Like,
we don't play around here.
No. We don't play around. It doesn't matter who you are, what you're ranked, what your aspirations are. We're still going to go out there and play every single game with full heart and full, just effort. And, hey, Louisville, I get it. But, hey, screw this whole thing up for Florida State. Why not? Why not?
Make it easier for Alabama to get in the playoffs.
I promise you, the committee is praying for Louisville to win that game. They do not want to see the ACC in these playoffs.
Nobody wants to see Florida State, dude. Now that they don't have now that Jordan Travis is hurt, dude, they're going to get walked through if they make the playoffs, man. Michigan, Georgia, whoever they have to play is just going to curve stomp them.
Yeah, it's not going to be good.
It's not going to be pretty, dude. They're only going to put up like 17 points.
If that. So, Louisville, we'll see what you can do in this one. I was shocked, but not too shocked. I thought it'd be a good game. I just didn't think they would actually lose to the Kentucky Wildcats. Let's go to my team that I've defended as hard as possible all season, and I will continue to do so. I don't know how you
can still defend this team.
It's
dude.
not.
I really don't.
Hey, the season's not done. That's why. Washington Huskies survive once again. It's a rivalry game against Washington State. The Apple Cup goes back to the Huskies.
I remember me and Nolan were talking about this game. He said the applesauce cup. I don't know what kind of cup it is.
Applesauce cup.
The applesauce. It was a good game. It was fun.
It was.
It's fun to watch.
Yeah, it was fun to watch.
Cam Ward played like he did at the beginning of the season.
Yeah.
Played outstanding. Did have 2 interceptions, but still played like we saw him play. Michael Penix Jr. did what he did, went to work, but also seemed to struggle at sometimes during this game as well. And Rome Odunze, dog, absolute dog, 7 receptions, 120 yards, 2 tuds. Dude's unguardable in the Pac-12.
Yep.
Unguardable. It's funny to see this game come down to the wire, but I mean it's a rivalry game. It's not gonna be a cakewalk sometimes. It's not gonna be like what Oregon did to Oregon State. It's not gonna be what some of these other rivals will do to their teams. Sometimes it's gonna be a tough battle. And for Washington, I'm not even gonna talk about Washington State. Played a really good game. Came short though. The game-winning field goal killed you. But for Washington to still figure this out, they have to figure out the defense. The defense is still not there. And that's teams like USC that I talked about at the beginning of the season. The defense was never ready. This defense was ready at the beginning and now is now slowly starting to struggle. And struggles like that, if you can't figure that out, those struggles start to dribble into the offensive side of the ball, making the offense struggle and not do what they were being able to do at the beginning of the season, which is ball out, put up numbers, be able to drive downfield every drive that they get. And if you can't figure that out, then it's going to be hard to beat Oregon in the Pac-12 next week. But it's also going to be hard to play for a national championship. If you cannot figure these out, you have to be balanced on both sides of the ball. You have to be balanced on offense, but you have to be balanced on defense, because the teams that are making the playoffs, the teams that could make the playoffs, have defenses, have people that can lock your guys up, have people that are going to be able to get back there faster to Michael Penix Jr. than players in the Pac-12. So if you don't figure out the defensive side of the ball, and that offense continues to struggle, then you're not going to be able to compete for a national championship. And that's the thing that Washington needs to do. The offense is on fire. Yes, they've struggled, but it also comes from the defense struggling and not being able to sustain drives, get turnovers, create third 3-and-outs, third and longs, and not being able to get the job done. So if Washington still wants to keep their playoff hopes alive, they have to be able to, their defense has to wake up against this Oregon offense that they have to play next Friday. It's going to be, or this Friday. It's going to be a struggle, but they have to be able to figure this out this week. It's a short week for them, but if they figured it out, they can still have a chance. But that's just the one thing that bugs me about this team, is that you have to be able to find out the struggles on your defense.
Yeah, Washington is becoming impossible to defend, like I said just a minute ago. I mean, it's the defense is the thing that is concerning, but it's also this offense and its inability to dominate anymore. You know, they're winning and they're making big plays when they need them, but they're not dominating like they had in the beginning of the season. And when the offense doesn't dominate, it really puts this team in a tough spot. The defense made some plays late, which was like, all right, that's nice to see. Kind of see them kind of make some plays. But there was also moments where it's like, yeah, this defense is just, they're not a championship defense. And it all boiled down for Washington. If they were going to win a championship, it came down to Michael Penix and being Michael Penix. And he's still, the last few weeks, has just not been the Heisman candidate he was for those first 6 weeks in the season. Not to say he's been playing bad, but he's not playing absolute elite best player in the country football anymore. And Washington was kind of leaning on that heavily, and we're kind of seeing that. Dillon hasn't been running the ball nearly as well either, so that's kind of a cause for concern with this offense. The defense, it wasn't supposed to be the defense that won them a championship or won them the conference. It was always about with this offense being as elite as it was, and now they're not even the best conference. They're the best offense in their conference. So can they turn on a switch when it matters? We'll see. I'm not exactly sure what the recent struggles, what caused them, but at the end of the day, they're there, and you gotta get stronger on defense, and you gotta find a way to get this offense humming like it was at the beginning of the season.
For sure. I mean, you have to be able to, especially with the Oregon team that you're having to play, a team that is coming in to avenge the only loss they have against y'all. They're on a mission.
Yes.
They have been doing what Washington was planning on doing, dominating on offense, dominating on defense. I mean, this Pac-12 championship game, I know we're going to talk about that later, but I mean, it's going to be it's going to be a good one. It's going to be a good one. It could be lopsided though.
Could be. It could be. The spread is not being friendly to the all Huskies. So
no, it's not.
So we'll talk about that in just a minute for sure.
That'll wrap up the Apple Cup. But now we move on to this great state that we live in.
Yes.
The game that Mississippians all wait for on Thanksgiving Day after you eat good turkey, good food. You get full. You sit down at 6:30 and you turn on the Egg Bowl. And my God, what a snooze fest this was.
Hey, it's perfect after that eating.
Yeah, dude, just fall asleep during because this is the most boring game. This is the most boring Egg Bowl. Only 17-7. Was it like 17-7 the final score?
17-7, 17-3. What was it?
No, 17-7 because Mississippi State did score.
Okay, I couldn't remember I didn't get to watch it. So yeah, 17-7.
Yeah, it was garbage. It was boring. Lane Kiffin's offense wasn't explosive like it was during the season, but also it's a rivalry game, so they're going to be ready. Mississippi State did score. Then after that, it was just boring. They scored one time. I said 35-7 last week in my game prediction, and it ended up being 17-7. I needed an 18-point fourth quarter for my projection to be right, and Lane Kiffin just couldn't answer, man. Like, what's going on, man? Come on now. Let's get back into the groove of being fast and dominant. But for Ole Miss to be able to compete, I'm not going to talk about Mississippi. What is this thumb on my computer? Dude, what is this?
Zoom bugging on you right now, bro.
Dude, Zoom is bugging. Okay, so but for Ole Miss and Lane Kiffin to take the next step is by getting an elite defense. You have the offense. You have the quarterback, you have the scheme to get the job done on the offensive side of the ball, sometimes depending on who you're playing. But you need a defense, man. Ole Miss has had this was the better defense that they've had in a while. Pete Golding's surprise. I don't like Pete Golding because, of what he did last year to Alabama's defense. It's atrocious. But he did something with Ole Miss's defense this year. He made them kind of good, kind of. But you have to be able to get an elite defense to compete with the rest of the SEC, to compete with Alabama and stop their offense, to compete with LSU. Yeah, they won against LSU, but they also let 49 points up to LSU. So that was big. To be able to compete with Georgia, with Tennessee, with teams like that, you have to have an elite defense in this.
Real sweet. Arch Manning spotted with Jeff Levy today.
Dude, no way. No. No, don't do it, Arch. You'll throw away your career. Don't do it. It's a trap. It's a trap.
Oh, jeez.
No, nuh-uh. But, there's one thing to talk about Mississippi State about, but back to Ole Miss. You have to be able to get an elite defense. That's the only thing that they need. You surround Dart with more weapons, and then Ole Miss will be able to compete further and further into the SEC. That's how I feel. Get an elite defense, surround Dart with more talent, and then you'll be able to compete with teams like Alabama and LSU and Georgia in the SEC. And now you'll be able to, now you have to be able to compete with Texas and Oklahoma as well. So once you figure out the defensive side of the ball, it should flow a lot smoother up in Oxford.
Yeah, real quick, this would have been breaking news about 2 or 3 years ago, but now it's second nature. No one really cares. Tyler Van Dyke has entered the transfer portal. Yeah.
Dude, I remember when they thought they were going to enter him this year. He was going to enter this year, and Alabama was like at the top of the list, and I was like, I don't know about that one.
I would have been excited this offseason. Hell, not anymore. That's for sure.
No, not anymore. And Milroe we trust.
All right. Dang, 1,000-yard receiver for Boise's in the portal. That's big. He's gonna get some offer somewhere. But
for sure.
Yeah, man. This is interesting. The Egg Bowl, right? That's what we're on. Didn't get to watch it. I was kind of sad about that.
Anything.
I definitely didn't miss anything. But I did kind of see the about 2-minute highlights, 2 minutes worth of highlights. And it's a rivalry game, so you don't really look into it. Mississippi State wanted that one so bad for that interim coach, so dang bad. You see him come out on the dang four-wheeler.
That was like the most Mississippi redneck thing I've ever seen in my life.
It was.
What better place to do it than Starkville?
Mud riding, let's go. But, yeah, man, it was one for the ages.
Was it, though? I turned that game off, bro. That game was trash.
Glad I missed that one. But when it comes to the Rebels this season, it's crazy because you look at their season and their 2 losses are to the 2 best teams in the conference, and that's a losing season for the Rebels in Lane Kiffin right now, and that's a pretty crazy step forward from where they were not too long ago. So you gotta take the wins with the losses, but if your 2 losses are to Georgia and Alabama this season, yeah, they beat them. They both beat them pretty bad. I know 24-10, but it wasn't. It felt like a pure domination by Bama, and what Georgia did to them. It's like you got to win those games, but for Ole Miss to be the number 4 team in the conference, really looking pretty good at the end of the season. We saw what happened on the Egg Bowl, but kind of it feels like they're taking what they had into next season. You got to be feeling pretty good as a Rebels fan, in my opinion. And when it comes to what they need, they're close, but there's some extra pieces. If they can get some defensive studs, fill the trenches out on offense and defensive line, maybe get a star in the portal. We talked about an Evan Stewart type of player, someone that could just shift the narrative, shift the attention on the team. I'd be very intrigued to see what Ole Miss could do then. Their schedule, it's so crazy because all these schedules are so different in this coming up season because of the expansion of the playoffs and the super conferences. I was looking at it earlier. Their 2024 schedule, They get where is it? Yeah, so they have Oklahoma. They have to play Georgia, LSU, South Carolina, Kentucky, Mississippi State. What the? Oh no, never mind. I'm tripping.
I'm about to say, what was it?
It looked like it was. It looked like it was the 5th game of the season, but it's not. It's dated. It's dated for November 30th, so we're good. We're good.
It's not Thanksgiving though.
It's not Thanksgiving, but still, at least it's not
the
like
5th
game of the season. At least it is. It's still the Egg Bowl. But yeah, it's interesting. I imagine they're going to be a heavy hitter in the transfer portal like they always are. So get some guys and hey, take a run at this thing. Ole Miss is close, but a couple pieces away still. So but it needs to take a step. Just make some moves, man. Make some moves and Lane Kiffin they trust. Hey.
In Lane Kiffin they trust. But moving on to another great rivalry game that was kind of a snooze fest. But also it was a different one because this was the first full game without Jordan Travis at quarterback. Florida State versus Florida. Didn't really get to watch much of this game. It didn't look very competitive. It did look like Florida State did struggle at first, but they did establish a run game, and the run game was dominant. Here's a fact and a stat. Florida State allowed 0 yards in the second half to Florida.
Jeez.
0 yards in the second half.
The Florida State defense is good. Their defense is good.
Florida State defense is good. That's the only thing that's going to be carrying them right now, unless that quarterback can figure something out, or unless Florida State figures how to get this quarterback more confident into the offense. This is more revolved around Florida State and their journey going into an ACC championship and possibly going back to the playoffs. It's gonna be a challenge. I mean, Louisville is gonna give you their best game of the season next week in the ACC championship, and if you come out lazy on offense, lazy on defense, not being able to get back there, then Louisville could just tack it up on them and run it away with it. But if Florida State figures out this team now, figures out how to get momentum going on the offensive side of the ball, not relying so much on the run game this time, more relying on the pass and the run equally, then we'll be able to. Then they'll be able to figure it out for the ACC. They'll be able to figure out for the playoffs if they make it. It's gonna be a tough 2 weeks for Florida State. It's gonna be tough this week coming up. ACC championship, so they got to figure something out if they want to keep their playoff hopes alive. But good win for Florida State. Good win for the backup quarterback for Florida State, even though he didn't really do much. It's going to be tough for Florida State right now because a lot of people are wanting them out, even if they do win the ACC. I'm one of those people that want them out. So, praying that Louisville can answer some prayers because I know the committee does not want to put Florida State in at all. They don't. They do not at all.
No, they do not. And I watched this game. It was mainly because I was like, all right, I'm interested. And I didn't realize. I kind of forgot. Graham Mertz did not play. Like, he was not.
He got hurt.
He was hurt. I did not realize he was hurt that bad either. So I did not realize that going into the game. And you could tell. Even though that backup for Florida is actually not terrible. He's honestly a good little quarterback. But, yeah, I mean, there wasn't anything in this game that told me that Florida State's going to be able to compete with anybody big. And, the whole the game, like, a win's a win. Like, great job. Like, you pointed out that stat on defense. The defense did its thing when it needed to. But this team is just not the same without him. And they're not going to figure it out in enough time. It's just not going to – they're not going to find it fast enough. So, do I think this team deserves to make the college football playoff if they're undefeated? Sadly, I do. I do think they probably deserve it just because, wow, you really going to put you're not going to put an undefeated team in the playoffs would be insane. That would be so crazy.
It would get
be so loud.
There would be like a riot,
dude.
In Tallahassee, dude.
It would get so loud, bro.
Half of Florida would sink into the sea.
It would, and I don't want to be around for it. So hopefully we get what we want with this Louisville game. But if they do, they're probably gonna make it because they cannot leave that team out. So not much else to say about Florida State.
No, but they can.
They can. They can. They have that ability to do that. But I don't think it's going to happen, sadly.
I don't think it'll happen, man.
No.
I don't.
I do not think so, man. But, hey, let's move on.
Let's do the game recap, man.
Yeah. Hey, last but not least on the game recap here. Jayden Daniels. Season is done.
Oh, yeah.
LSU Tigers finish off with a dub. As an LSU fan, I wanted to throw this in here. Now, we're not going to stick too long on it because we're going to talk about it in a sec. What a career. We watched him grow up from a wee little lad from Arizona State.
Wee little lad.
A wee little lad. Beat Justin Herbert and them Ducks. Like, dang, this
Not
guy.
that hard.
This guy's a dog.
This dude's got a freaking resume, dog. This dude's got a resume.
Resume, dude. He's beat some guys. And,
he beat Alabama. Dude's got a resume to like impress NFL scouts. And I was a big fan of Jayden Daniels, even when he was at LSU. I was always a big fan. As you said, we've seen him from Arizona State grow to be one of the best quarterbacks in college football today. It's insane to see the growth. It's insane to see what he was able to do with that team. The numbers this guy put up this second year around with this fully grown team around him. If only he had a defense. Only he had a defense, this team could have made a playoff appearance. I applaud Jayden Daniels and what he did for the LSU Tigers. I applaud what he did for college football because, good Lord, he made college football fun.
He did.
It's insane. What a career he had, and we will definitely see him on Sundays. Maybe in some purple, maybe in Minnesota. Who knows?
Maybe some black and gold because God bless. Please lose out. Please lose out, Saints. We need this guy. But yeah, man, I just want to send my respect to the guy. It was, wow, what a season. It was fun to be able to root for the guy, and you don't get a lot of chances to root for such an electric player. And, a lot of people can agree that he might have been the best player in the country this year. Heisman or not, talent-wise on the field, it's hard to argue that there's a more talented football player when it comes to just pure electricity. Yeah, there's receivers and Brock Bowers and Marvin Harrison Jr. Like, they do their thing. They're the most talented, but what Jayden did is he's just unfreaking real. Box office. Someone's going to draft the guy simply because he is tickets. He puts.
Oh yeah, dude. He is asses in seats.
Yes, that is what he does. So
yeah,
respect Jayden Daniels. It was fun.
He will definitely put some butts in some seats.
Yes, I hope we get to see him one more time in the bowl game. But there's a part of me, I hope that he does not, so he does not get hurt, so he can have a great career.
Oh, man, now y'all are screwed.
Yeah, no, yeah, we are. We are dead. Yeah.
The offense won't be bad. It's not the same. It's not. Yeah. That'll do the game recap for the week, man. Next week we'll be on here. We will be recapping game championship weekend. But now we're going to move on to another great segment that we all love, top 6 teams. And I'm expecting to see some movements now. I'm expecting to see a lot of movements. So I'll start this off. From 6 to 1, I have the Alabama Crimson Tide at number 6. The way they've been playing is looking unstoppable. I don't see it at 6. What is this blasphemy? What is this?
It got too big. Hang on.
Oh, it got too. Okay, it got too wide. Okay, well, Alabama at 6. At 5, I have Florida State. They're still undefeated, not for long, but we're going to leave them at 5. It's just not a complete team anymore. At 4, we have the Oregon Ducks. Oregon being dominant, being one of the most electric teams in college football right now, and soon to be Pac-12 champs. At 3, we have the undefeated Washington Huskies, coming off a big win, but also a scary win against Washington State. At 2, have the Georgia Bulldogs. It's hard. It's hard not to put them at 1. It's really hard, even though they did beat Georgia Tech. It didn't look like they beat them by a lot, but they beat them in more ways than one. And then at number 1, we have the team that beat the team that they have been dominating. We have Michigan at number 1. I mean, they look like a number one team right now, man. It's between them and Georgia. So Michigan, Georgia, Washington, Oregon, FSU, and Bama are my top 6 teams. Nate, give us to it, brother. Give it to us, brother. Who you have?
Yeah, and it's tough, but I gotta go. This is my top 6. Florida State at 6, Texas at 5, Oregon at 4, Washington 3, Georgia 2, and Michigan number 1. That is my top 6 teams right now. I did really want to put Bama at 6, but Jesus, putting an undefeated Florida State team at 7 would be like disrespectful at some point. So
it's already disrespectful to have them in the top 4 already, Nathan. It's okay.
It's okay. Yeah. I couldn't put them in the top 4 by any means, but I did want to put them at least in that top 6 range. But
so you have us at 7. I'll take 7 over 8.
Yeah, you're 7. So I have Ohio State below y'all. Yes, I do, because Ohio State bums. Cheeks. But yeah, I mean, not much else to say. We saw what Michigan did this weekend. Georgia hasn't lost that spot for any reason, but you know, Michigan's got the biggest win probably of the season, beating an Ohio State team, bigger win than Georgia has this season. So with everything Michigan's done, and my respect for them, I should have never taken them off of number 1, but what Georgia did, I had to give my respect to the Bulldogs, but Michigan has reclaimed that spot for me. Washington at 3 for a simple fact. They beat Oregon, but we'll see what happens this weekend. Oregon number 4, simply because they are the hottest team in the country. But, you know, like, they just don't have close games anymore.
No, dude, they're just blowing people out.
Just blowing them out, and they're so good. They're so good.
They're a fun team to watch, man.
They are. They're dangerous. They could win it all. So, had to put them in that top 4 range right now. Number 5, Texas, coming off their biggest win recently of the season, 50-7. I know they played nobody, but they did exactly what they're supposed to do to that team. And man, they just beat the snot out of. Well, and let's not forget, this team that they beat the snot out of had a really close game with Oregon.
38-30, man. It was a close game. That was week 2. That was week 2.
It was.
So, you know, and also you could say the same thing about Texas and Alabama. It was week 2.
Exactly.
Both teams have matured.
Yes.
You know, give us a neutral field, Bama by 50.
Oh.
But, you know, it's whatever.
Lost at home.
But, you know.
Lost at home.
Better strength of schedule. Put us on a neutral field right now. 100%. Bama wins by 10.
Okay. All right. Maybe we'll get that wish. Maybe we'll get that wish. But, you know, that'll cover the top 6 teams. Yes. You know, I expect it to not move as much. I expect the committee by next week, you know, it's going to be different next week. I think we should see a new number 1 by the committee next week for sure. But that'll cover top 6 teams. And now we get into the big nitty-gritty. One of the big nitty-gritties. We have College Kings Heisman Watch. Yes, sir.
And we have our top 3 Heisman votes. Our who we think is top 3. And Nate, go ahead. Who do you have in your top 3 for Heisman?
Yes, nothing has changed currently. Let's be honest, it is a 2-person race between Jayden Daniels and Bo Nix. Michael Penix is on that 3rd spot. I would probably throw Marvin Harrison Jr. in the mix and a Carson Beck maybe, but obviously,
I thought about putting Carson Beck at 3, but it's just
last week he didn't really show up, so he couldn't get that respect for me. But I mean, it's a 2-man race. You could flip-flop Bo and Jayden. No one's going to probably be too mad unless you're supporting of either guys. But man, both of those guys' seasons insane, like freaking insane how good they've played. So it comes down to what can Bo do in the game that he lost in his rematch against the Huskies. So if he balls, is the reason they win, he's going to win the award. If they lose and he doesn't play good, that's Jayden Daniels' award. So it's going to be fun to watch. Obviously, would love to see Jayden have a chance at kind of adding to his resume before the votes go down, but that's not the case. And Bo Nix has his opportunity to really take a hold of that trophy and bring it home and possibly bring it to him to a college football playoff berth.
That would be cool. I don't want to be a broken record. Just go ahead and show it. I have the same top 3. Jayden Daniels at 1, Bo Nix at 2, Michael Penix at 3. The only thing that sucks for Jayden is that Bo Nix does get that extra game. And as you said before, as you just said, if he balls out, it's his award. I mean, there's no doubt about it. But if he doesn't, then it obviously could be between Michael Penix and Jayden Daniels, depending on how Michael Penix does in the Pac-12 as well. It's just between, as you said, it's just between those two guys. Those top two guys, Jayden and Bo have just been balling all year long. Bo he's part of as you said, the hottest team in college football right now, and he is balling out. Only has 2 interceptions, 30-plus touchdowns. I mean, dude's insane. Jayden Daniels, 50 touchdowns, which, I mean, there's only a few quarterbacks that have had 50 touchdowns and won the Heisman, and half of them have been from the SEC. So it's gonna be a race for sure. We'll see Friday between Bo Nix and Michael Penix who is going to be the top guy, who's going to be in the playoff, and who will win the Heisman.
Very, very exciting, brother. Amazing season so far, and kind of leads us into our bowl games. Can't believe we're having this discussion, brother. Can't believe it's here.
I remember when we were kids, we would all sit outside, me, you, and Nolan, and figure out, predict who's going to make the bowl games. Now we do this on the pod, and it's a lot better. If only we had Nolan, it'd be fun too. But we got some interesting games. I don't know who you picked compared to who I picked, but, it's going to be fun. It's going to be a fun bowl game for sure. It's going to be a fun bowling season. Who doesn't love going bowling?
Yeah, who's bowling, who's not? Matt, hey, James Madison is going bowling.
Yes, they are. Yes, they are. JMU Dukes, baby.
Love that. And Jacksonville State as well, another team that transitioned to FBS and had the same situation. They couldn't bowl. They couldn't win their conference championship, so they are also getting the bowl because a lack of teams. So,
yes,
love to see that. Love to see that for both of those squads. But yes, CDM, let's rattle off these New York 6 bowls. We'll hold off the Rose Bowl and Sugar Bowl. We'll give those last. CDM, give me your Orange Bowl matchup, Fiesta Bowl matchup, Cotton Bowl matchup, and your Peach Bowl matchup.
Okay, so for the Orange Bowl, it's going to be between the Mizzou Tigers and the Florida State Seminoles because they're going to lose the ACC championship game. So it's going to be Mizzou versus Florida State. Orange Bowl, Fiesta Bowl. We added one of the power. We added an interesting team against another interesting team. I'm taking the Tulane Green Waves versus the Texas Longhorns in the Fiesta Bowl. I feel like that's going to be an interesting game. Okay. Texas is going to lead in the Big 12 championship. And, Tulane's going to do what they do. They handle business in their bowl games. We've seen it happen before. I think we could see it again. Oh, and then we go on to the Cotton Bowl, which I think is another interesting bowl, but not my favorite one. But the Cotton Bowl, I do have the Ole Miss Rebels taking on the Oklahoma Sooners. I expected to be an Oklahoma Sooner team without Dylan Gabriel, just because for draft stock and for health reasons, you don't want to go out there and possibly get an injury. So Ole Miss versus Oklahoma, it would be 2 powerhouse offenses, 2 top speed offenses versus 2 crappy defenses. So I'm expecting a lot of points on the board if this is to happen. And then my favorite bowl game that I hope happens, that I feel like would light the world on fire and be one of the best bowl games of the year, the Peach Bowl. And that would be the Washington Huskies going up against the Ohio State Buckeyes. We've seen it happen in the Rose Bowl, and it wasn't a pretty sight, but this time's different. And I feel like it would be a really good game. I feel like Ohio State's mid offense going up against Washington's mid defense, and then you have Washington's powerhouse offense going up against Ohio State's really good defense. I feel like this would probably be the most watched bowl game besides the Rose Bowl and the Sugar Bowl. That would be the most watched bowl game of the season. Who wouldn't want to watch that game? That game just sounds like cinema, sounds like fireworks. Something spectacular may happen, and it may have a wild ending. But yeah, those are my bowl predictions. Hopefully they come true. It's going to be a fun bowl season. But Nate, tell me who you have.
Yes, sir. I have for the Orange Bowl, I have the Florida State Seminoles as well, facing off against the Ohio State Buckeyes.
Domination.
Yeah, it might be. Just might be. Anyone that plays Florida State's probably going to be a tough game, tough matchup for them. Fiesta Bowl, I got the Missouri Tigers facing off against the Penn State Nittany Lions.
Ooh. That sounds like a fun game.
Yeah, I thought that was a fun one. That
sounds like a fun game. I would watch that game.
I would watch that game as well. My favorite of these selections, and I think would be absolute cinema, and personally, if all the puzzle pieces fall right, could be the championship this year. The Cotton Bowl. The Alabama Crimson Tide facing off against the Oregon Ducks.
Oh man! Do you say that may be that may be the championship game?
If all the puzzle pieces fall right, that could happen.
Oh, dude, that would be such a fun championship game, bro. I've never seen us play Oregon. I don't think Alabama and Oregon have ever played. So that would be
right?
a fun. That would be awesome. A fun game to watch.
That would be an awesome game. I would love that matchup. When I was putting these things together, I was like, yeah, I'm putting these two teams together.
Yeah, that would be fun.
That would be awesome. Alabama.
Too bad they're gonna.
Oh, you're gonna be in the playoffs? Is that what?
Too bad both teams are gonna be in the playoffs, so it doesn't matter.
This guy. You might be right. All right.
I'm a prophet.
Hey, you're the one getting all the games right. So, all right, Peach Bowl. Give me the Louisville Cardinals. Still finding a way into a New York 6 bowl game versus the Tulane Green Wave.
Oh, I thought you were going to say LSU.
Can't have LSU in there. Got to have at least one of these, Power Fives in here. So I had to get old Tulane in there. So,
oh man, I feel like Tulane would win that game. Honestly, I feel like Tulane would win.
That's what I'm saying.
I feel like Michael Pratt would just go off.
Wouldn't that be crazy? They win back-to-back New York 6 bowl games, man.
Hey man, that just means Tulane's on their way up. If they win back-to-back bowl games, that's insane.
New York 6 too. That'd be awesome.
Insane.
Got to handle business this weekend though.
But now we get into the Rose Bowl and Sugar Bowl, the playoff games. So I'll go for this. I have the Rose Bowl. In the Rose Bowl, I have the Oregon Ducks going up against the Georgia Bulldogs for the Rose Bowl and possibly a championship appearance. And then for the Sugar Bowl, I have the most anticipated game that could possibly happen if pieces fall right. Michigan versus Alabama. That would be an interesting game. That would be a very interesting game.
That would be.
Oregon versus Georgia would probably be the best game of the year, in my opinion. I feel like that would be the best. That would be out of the playoff games. That would be the best game.
That'd be a good game. That would be a really, 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 really good game.
For sure.
Jeez, I like those. That's a high possibility for that to happen. All right. This is what I've got here for the Rose Bowl 2 versus 3. I have the Michigan Wolverines taking on the Washington Huskies.
Good Lord.
Yep.
What's wrong with you?
That is right. I do have that. I am right. I'm going to be right.
You hear that? That's Husky cheeks getting clapped by Wolverines.
Yeah. Is that what that is? All right.
That's what's going to happen if they make the playoffs.
I told you it would happen last week when Michigan played Ohio State. You just won't ever listen to me at this point. So.
Well, now you have. If that game happens, Nathan, you have to pick a side. You have to either pick the Wolverines or you got to pick the Huskies. So, which one are you ultimately picking to win that game? Since you're high on both of these teams, which one down the middle you have to pick? Oh, you have to pick Washington, who you've been high on all season, or you got to pick Michigan, who you've been high on since the middle of the season.
Oh, that's tough.
Yeah, you didn't think about that one, did you, brother?
I'd probably root for Washington, but if you're asking for my bet, I'd say Michigan.
Oh, exactly. That's what I was thinking.
I'd probably say that. So the Sugar Bowl, get off of that topic. You're trying to make me think of other things. Sugar Bowl, number 1 versus number 4. I have the Georgia Bulldogs facing off against the Texas Longhorns. They get in.
Don't get clapped.
Probably. You're probably right. But they get in. Sark gets his first playoff appearance.
And possibly his last.
Possibly. Very possibly
his last.
Very possible.
Listen, he could be the new Lincoln Riley. He could just go to the playoffs and just get smacked around like a redheaded stepchild.
He could. You're not lying. You're not lying.
I'm not wrong.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong.
But that'll do the New Year's Six bowl game recap or the predictions. But now we get into our final segment, the saddest segment because it's one step closer to the year being over. Championship week game pick. I know. Let out that solo tear falling down your eye.
Wait,
the championship weekend's here.
1 second. Moment of silence. Moments passed.
It's championship weekend, man. We're one step closer. We're 1 week closer to playoffs, to New Year's Six games. And we have a lot of games to pick through. So we're going to slide through these really fast. First conference championship game we have up. We have Conference USA, Mexico State.
No, we're not gonna do that. Remember, we added some of these games. So let's look at the
Oh yeah. Look at the screen.
Let's pull these bad boys up here. We got the MAC championship for our first game. Toledo is facing off against Miami, Ohio. We have the Toledo is a 2.5 point favorite, 44.5 point over under. That money line is definitely on Toledo. Was at 307. Sorry, these letters are very, very, very small. So CDM. I'll start us off here. Start us off,
brother.
Toledo, pretty good team this year. They are 11-1 right now. Incredible season.
Okay, Toledo.
Incredible season they had this year. But that's not to say Miami, Ohio didn't have a good season as well. They're 10-2. Remember the beginning of the year when that quarterback said we're the real Miami, and everyone crapped on them when they got handed the L. Hey, they're pretty good. They've got the better record in between Miami's. So, got to give them their respect. But Toledo has been a freaking wagon all season. Apparently, I was looking at some of their stats. So they've been handling business and kind of putting some points on the board as well. So. Give me Toledo in this one, 30-20.
I like an underdog. I'm taking Miami, Ohio.
Okay.
I'm taking them 24-21. Defensive battle, short game.
I like it. Nice pick there, CDM.
These don't go on the record, do they?
These go on the record.
Okay, give me Miami then. Yeah, give me Miami.
Giving them Miami. By the way, CDM does have a 2-game lead on me. I got some games on him with some of those picks last week. I think it was NC State I got right and you didn't, and obviously Michigan's beat down. So
yeah.
Just want to let everyone know that I'm catching up. Sorry.
What's the next game, Nathan?
We have the Mountain West Championship, where we might be seeing Oregon State and Washington State move on to, because Jesus, we're not going to have a Pac-2 conference.
Oh my God, dude, they're going to dominate. You're going to murder that conference, the Mountain State Conference. Oh, murder.
And for the 15th straight year, Oregon State faces off against Washington State in the championship game. Please.
Well, Tom, we've seen these two teams here 15 straight years, man. It's getting kind of old because, it's just the same teams over and over again.
Please make it stop.
Please, help.
Add some other teams, man.
Cheat, do something.
Steal signs, for the love of God, do something.
Make something happen.
The Mountain West Conference, their championship is Boise State versus UNLV, University of Las Vegas. I have a lot of respect for Las Vegas, the city, but I don't have the respect for their team, even though I think it's a good game here. Boise State, give me the blue field in this one, even though it's not being played on it. They're going to win this one 31-30.
Give me the Broncos, man. Broncos are going to dominate. And I think they're going to win by a score of 35-17.
All right. I like it. Hey, Broncos, they do have the worst record, but they got a big win last week. So interested to see how this game kind of plays out. Let's move on to the Sun Belt Conference. Their championship game should have a James Madison in it, but it does not. The representatives.
Don't see Southern Miss in there either.
I think they were too good, so they had to make them kind of step down from the.
Yeah, 3 wins is way too good.
And they won't fire their head coach, so that's just painful. So,
oh, dude,
Don't even get me started. So, Sunbelt Conference, their representatives, as James Madison could not play in this game. Troy versus App State. Troy is a 6.5 point favorite, 52.5 over under. App State has had some good performances this season. Troy has really put together a lot of wins in a row now here. CDM, you want to start us off here? Or you want me to take over for my
man? I'm gonna take this one.
Okay.
I'm gonna go with the one that I've picked so many years in a row, that has never let me down, that holds strong. Give me the Trojans.
Okay.
All the way. Trojans never let me down. They never break. They're reliable. They can do it. I really feel like it. App State did get the big win over JMU. But, at the end of the day, you can't go against this team. You can't, especially, App State has it, but Trojans will ultimately win this game. Give me Troy winning 28-21.
Jesus Christ. Oh my God. We're going to get canceled.
It's their name.
You're right. I don't know what I'm talking about.
Trojans hold strong.
Yeah, they do. You're right. Hey, they've held strong for 10 wins this season. Let's make that 11 wins. Yeah. They're gonna beat App State. It's gonna be a great game though. Great game. App State has put up a lot of points this season. Give me Troy, 37-34.
Nice.
Yes, sir.
Now we get into our championship games. We start off this one with Conference USA. We have New Mexico State, who did upset Auburn, so thank you for that. Awesome job. Going up against the Liberty Flames. The Liberty comes in as 10-point favorites. I will take this one real fast. I'm taking Liberty. Liberty's got a really stud quarterback, taking snaps back there, really athletic, can do a lot on the field besides passing, can really use his legs. I'm taking Liberty 45-14.
Dang, there's a beat down here. All right.
Beat down. I think it's going to happen.
I like it. Hey, I respect that. Yeah, Liberty, interesting squad. I've got to watch their quarterback play last season when they played Southern Miss, and he was technically the backup then. The quarterback goes down, and they brought him in, and I was like, this should be the starter. What the heck is this team?
How is this guy not on the field?
This guy should be on the field at all times. Like, this guy is special. Like you said, great runner. Broke contained so many times against Southern Miss. He's got great stats this season. Really led this team. Undefeated season so far. They're ranked in the AP. Can't say much more about them, man. They are dominating the CUSA, and I think they keep on winning and have an undefeated season as they go to their bowl game, whatever that might be. Hey, Liberty.
They honestly could make a New Year's Six bowl.
They might be the team over Tulane, actually, thinking about it.
Yeah, they're undefeated.
Jeez, I didn't even think about that.
I totally forgot about that. Yeah, Liberty is one of the only undefeated teams in college football right now. So, yeah, they totally could make a New Year's Six bowl.
Do you put in undefeated Liberty or a one-loss Tulane, and their only loss is to Ole Miss, and they played them really good? That's tough. That's tough.
I feel like you got to put in Tulane, though. Yeah. Tulane's got a better schedule and been battle-tested more.
That's what I'm saying. They got better conference, better schedule. Like, yeah, that Liberty respect, though. If they can win undefeated, hey, all the respect in the world. But like I was saying, give me Liberty in this one. Love their quarterback. Respect to their season. And, losing Hugh Freeze and they still do this is kind of, that's
insane.
That's insane, right? Undefeated. So, great team. Get another great win. 31-24. All right. American Athletic Conference Championship. SMU takes on Tulane. We've talked about Tulane, what they've done this season and done past 2 seasons. Kind of impressive stretch, man.
They've kind of struggled a little bit these past couple games, though. I won't lie. They have struggled a little bit. But I still think they come out on top. I don't think it's going to be the prettiest win. I think they only win by at least 6 or 8 points. So I am taking Tulane. I'll take Tulane in this game. I have Tulane winning 31-24. Keeping it close, but at the very end, they rally and get the final points and settle the game for sure.
All right. Yeah, me too. This line has jumped real fast, too. So it started at 4 this morning, and now it's at 5.5 by the time we started the pod. Yeah, SMU, good team, man. I've watched I haven't watched any really of their games, but I've seen highlights of them throughout the season. And I'm like, okay, this team is kind of just quietly good, like every single year it feels like. And I know they're moving I'm pretty sure they're moving to the Big 12 next season. So that's a great move for them. You know, I mean, they played Oklahoma pretty good earlier in the season. When I was looking at their record, I was like, I mean, their only 2 losses are to Big 12 teams. So, you know, and they just absolutely destroyed Navy last week. That's not the greatest, you know.
It's not like the most prolific win, but it's a win. It's a win.
It's a win.
We take those. Hey, we take those.
We don't care against 2, but yeah, give me Tulane. They've just proved it year in, year out the last 2 seasons, and love their coach. He's going to have that team ready. So give me the green wave in this one, 34-28.
Moving on to the Big 12 championship game, have the Oklahoma State Cowboys going up against the Texas Longhorns. It's going to be a battle. I think it's going to be good. Ultimately, I do have to pick the Oklahoma State Cowboys to win this game 41-38 because they're going to do it. Because you know why? Because Texas is not going to get the job done because nobody wants to see Texas get blown out in the playoffs. Nobody wants to see another Big 12 team get blown out in the playoffs. I'm sorry.
Wow.
But I also have to take Oklahoma State because I need things to fall in favor if we win or when we win the SEC championship. So, obviously, I'm going to take Oklahoma State. I think Texas is going to win, but Oklahoma State, I'm taking them 41-38.
I respect that. I got a lot of respect for you. Got a lot of grit to make that pick there.
It took a lot of balls. I'm not going to lie. It took a lot. I had to swallow some pride.
Hey, I respect it, man. BYU just could not do the job for any of us. You know, kind of make.
Oh no, fun. Bro, they could not.
They just did not do the job and had to make us suffer through this one. Even though I do think it's going to be a better game than 14.5, which is kind of wild to me. That's
a big spread.
It's a big spread, man, for a conference championship. Obviously, the next one's even crazier.
And you say that, and the next one right by it's Michigan 23.
That's different. That's different. It feels like this.
How's that different?
This is a little different. It's not much different. But Texas, I mean, they are buzzsaw last week. They absolutely destroyed Texas Tech. You know, and that's a rivalry game. So it's for them to do that is just like, whoa, got to see some Arch Manning. So. I'm not picking against Texas right now. After that 50-7 win, yeah, this team might be back on track offensively and defensively. So give me the Longhorns. Kind of a beat down, 38-21. All right, let's move on to the Big Ten. I don't think we need to talk too much about it. It's more about how much rather than who is going to win this one. I'll start us off here. 23-point favorites are the Wolverines. 35.5-point over-under. That's kind of a lot for an Iowa game. And I'm going to go under here. Michigan wins 30-0.
Good Lord. I mean, mine's nowhere near that, but I mean, at least I had Iowa putting some points up. Good God.
Nope, no points. Absolutely
I took
not.
Michigan, obviously, because Iowa has the worst offense in college football. So if they don't put points up, I won't be surprised. But I have Michigan winning 45-17. I'll give them some grace. I'll give them 17 points, but they're not winning the game.
Okay.
And I'm taking the over. I will definitely take the over in this one.
You got the over just for one team. I respect that. Yeah. I think Michigan gets gets that 24-point, 23-point lead and just kind of
plus Jim's back for this game.
Yeah.
So
they're just going to coast. This is not a game you need to get anybody hurt in, man. You know, just kind of take JJ out in the third quarter, be happy with it, you know, kind of a game. So we'll see what happens. Jim Harbaugh back on the sideline. That's honestly, that'll be a good sight to see for college football fans. Maybe not for some, but for me, myself, I'll enjoy it.
You enjoy that. You enjoy that.
Yeah, let's move on. ACC championship game. Louisville doesn't lose. This is much more interesting. Still a very interesting game as the Cardinals face off against Florida State without Jordan Travis. CDM.
First time Louisville has been in their conference championship since they've joined the ACC. But I don't think they win it. I don't think they get it done. I think Florida State will figure it out. Slowly but surely figure it out and rally at the end of the game. I think their defense takes over late in the fourth quarter. I think it's close. I think Florida State wins 31-24 with a great defensive battle at the end of the game.
All right. I hear you there, brother. I kind of foreshadowed my pick in this one if you were paying attention. I had Louisville in a New York 6 bowl game. Only way they do that is if they win again. And I've got them doing God's work in this one, saving the committee's ass. They're going to beat the Seminoles in this one. They're going to get it done with the plumber. Full action, handling the clogs on offense.
I'm waiting for that one.
He is going to do his thing. He's going to have to do a lot, but they'll get the job done. Give me the Cardinals in this one, 23-21. All right.
Oh, man, that's going to be a close game.
Yeah, I got a good one.
Going into this Friday's game, one of the most anticipated games, Pac-12 Championship, Oregon Ducks versus Washington Huskies.
Let's go.
It's going to be a game. It's going to be, a revenge game for Oregon. This game, Washington could just put the nail in the coffin and send them to the college football playoffs. Too bad Oregon's offense and defense is going to outshine the Washington Huskies as a whole. Oregon's offense has just been so good since their loss to Washington. Bo Nix has been playing at a different level. The defense has not been letting up anything at all compared to what Washington's defense has been doing. Give me the Ducks 45-35.
45-35. All right. This is not an excuse. I'm just saying. If you're listening to me for betting advice, you might not want to. This is a pick to hold strong on a team that I betted preseason. I said this team would make the playoffs. I'm not backing down now. I didn't back down with Michigan. I'm not backing down with this team. The Washington Huskies are going to find a way to get into this playoff. Michael Penix has his best game of his career. Bo Nix throws one interception late. And we see a miracle touchdown drive from Michael Penix to end the game with about 22 seconds left on the clock.
Mm-hmm.
Book it now. 22 seconds left on the clock. Game-winning touchdown.
It's okay. Oregon's going to run it back.
That would be my luck. That would be my luck. They get a touchdown to take the lead with 22 seconds. I'd be like, I'm the greatest of all time. Michael Penix just did exactly what I said I was going to do, and then they would return the kick. That's exactly what would happen to me.
Well, we'll find out Friday for sure. This game is a big, big matchup to see who will make the playoffs for the Pac-12, because whoever wins this is going to the playoffs. Does not change my mind at all.
Without a doubt. So, yeah, give me Washington 35-34.
And now, the piece of resistance, the best game of the nation, the best game of the night. We have the SEC championship. We have the two-time defending national champions, the Georgia Bulldogs, going up against my Alabama Crimson Tide. Nate, take this one for me.
Yeah, I'll let you. I was about to say, let me get this one so you had the floor last here. Man, what a game. The spread's moving. Started at 5. It's up to 6. It'll probably be up to almost a touchdown by game time here. Georgia obviously favored as they are the champs. Rightfully so. They deserve that. But, man, this one's tough. I know what we saw last week with Bama, and we know what we saw last week with Georgia. These teams are going to be ready. These teams are going to be ready. When you have a team led by Kirby Smart, when you have a team led by Nick Saban, last thing they're not going to be is not ready. So they'll be ready for this football game. They'll be locked in. They'll be prepared. They're not going to be unprepared. Now it comes down to the X's and O's. Which team executes enough? And I know it's a cliche that we hear around the football world so much. As a Saints fan, I hear it too much from freaking Dennis Allen. Just didn't execute. Whoever executes the best in this game, not even the best, just more efficiently is probably the better way to put it. No mistakes. The mistakes are going to be the reason one team loses, and that is how I feel this game will go. Early on, offense is going to be clicking for both teams, in my opinion. We're going to see some offenses move back and forth. We're going to get into that halftime. One team's going to have a 3-point lead, maybe even a touchdown lead, and then we get into that second half, it's going to slow down. Long possessions, run game, limit possessions, limit the amount of, time your defense and offense has to be on the field. And it's going to come down to which team makes a mistake first. I don't know if it's going to be Milroe. I don't know if it's going to be a running back. I don't know if it's going to be on a punt return. I just have a feeling it might be a messed up snap. I just think we see something from a young guy on Alabama late in this game that's going to allow Georgia a chance to win it. And we're going to see Carson Beck find a way late and kind of remind everybody, hey, the Bulldogs are still here. Amazing football game. There's a part of me that says to pick Alabama here because it's like sacrilegious to not pick Bama in these types of games. But Georgia has done nothing to prove otherwise. I've learned my lesson picking against Georgia. And until they lose, I will not pick against them again. So, give me the Georgia Bulldogs. Bama covers, though, 27-24. Sorry, we're back. CDM's face froze right there, so we had to kind of cut that.
Okay, we're back. So, as I was saying, I agree with you. It all comes down to who executes in this game the most. It's who controls time of possession in this game, whose offense can go down the field and score, whose defense is going to be able to score. It comes down to a lot of variables to this game. It comes down to a lot. Georgia has been playing their best ball all year. Bama has finally woken up and came back to being dominant. Not really dominant, but back to the standard of Alabama football. Everything's clicking right. And it's going to be a game. This right here determines this could be a championship game. Who knows? This could be the real championship game. But I can't pick against the boys.
No, you can't.
I can never pick against the boys. And I think if Jalen Milroe goes out there and does what he's been doing these past couple of weeks, being able to stay in the pocket, find out where he needs to put the ball, Tommy Rees calling a clean offensive game, and also Kevin Steele's defense showing up and showing out, being able to get back there and disrupt Carson Beck. And being able to disrupt Brock Bowers and Cade McConkey as well, being able to disrupt his weapons. Also being able to establish a run defense, because last week we got exposed against Auburn in their rushing offense. That's one thing. That's one of many things that Georgia can do. They can pass the ball on you, but they can run it down your throat. So being able to get back to Carson Beck is going to be the biggest thing for Alabama. Also, the thing that Georgia's going to have to do is find ways to keep Milroe off the field. That's the biggest thing for Georgia to do, is keep Milroe off the field and being able to control the time of possession, control how long they have the ball. As you said, by halftime, it's going to be explosive, and then the second half, it's going to slow down. That's when the game gets very serious, because that's the crunch time half. Second half is where everything comes down. This is the last 30 minutes you'll play of football, and it's either you're going to go play for a playoff spot or play in the playoffs, or you're going to go play in a New Year's Six bowl. Which, I mean, I want to make the playoffs, but if we don't make the playoffs, then we always come back reloaded next year, ready to compete.
Yep.
But I'm taking the boys. I'm taking Alabama. I think we can get it done. I think our offense I think our team in general is running smoothly, being able to compete with teams like this. I think we can get the job done, and I have a high-scoring game, but I have Alabama winning 41-38. A kind of a classic last year against Ohio State and Georgia, but with different outcomes. This doesn't come down to a kick to win the game, even though Will Riker would strike it down the middle. Hopefully. God, I hope so. But it also comes down to Jalen Milroe and that tied offense, and I think we get the ball late, we drive down, and Jalen Milroe from 20 yards out runs it in to seal the deal for Alabama, making us SEC champs.
I like that prediction. I like that.
It may not happen, but dear God, if it does, call me a prophet.
Yeah. We definitely.
Me and Nathan will be with each other on Saturday, with Nolan including, later in the day, watching these amazing games. We'll be with each other to see our reactions. It's going to be insane. Championship weekend, man. It's sad, but God bless. It's going to be so much fun.
It's going to be fun. Let's enjoy it. Let's not think about the bad. Let's think about all the amazing moments that we're going to witness on Saturday, man. Just
dude, it's going to be so fun. And Friday, don't forget Pac-12 Championship is on a Friday instead of a Saturday.
Yes, so I got to watch that on Friday night with the fam. Enjoy that. And
I'll be at work.
Yeah. Oh man, that's tough.
But I'll be around television, so I'll be good.
Stay good. What'd you need, sir? What'd you?
Sir, Carson, why aren't you at your tables? Screw the tables, man.
It's
a 3-point game.
It's fourth down. Hang on.
It's fourth down in the fourth quarter. Leave me alone.
Just 1 second. I'm going to get you your water.
He wants a beer. Get him a beer.
Get him a beer. Get him a beer.
Don't get him a beer. Get me the beer.
I need a shot. Bust
out the tequila. Nah, man, but it's going to be a fun weekend. Can't wait to spend it with you and watching these amazing games.
Yes, indeed, brother. Amazing.
That will cover up College Kings episode 14. Next time we see each other, we'll be talking about playoff games.
Insane. We'll know the rankings. That's crazy, right?
Yeah, we'll know the rankings and who makes the playoffs. It's gonna be insane. Well, brother, it's always a pleasure and an honor, sir. Always. It's been fun.
Yes.
Until next time.
Yes. You can follow us with these little cool little things here. It shows us our Instagram and Twitter/X accounts. You can follow us out there. We put up content. We put out tweets. We try to respond if you comment. No one's really done too much of that. CDM is very willing to get into arguments as well. So,
dude, I'll flame you up. Bring it on.
Feel free. CDM,
in the most respectful way that you don't want these problems. Yeah. That's why I'm telling you, you don't want to get on Twitter with me. You will not like me on Twitter.
You won't. Carson makes public enemy number 1 on Twitter. So.
You will not like me on Twitter.
It's okay. You can also follow us on this ticker at the bottom. It's been going on through the whole pod, so it's obviously not showing it right now. It's showing how Texas A&M's Mac Johnson hits the portal. But you can go out there and find it on the ticker. If not, just look up Nate Dogg Sports, Nate Dogg Productions on all social media accounts to follow us. We are dropping content weekly. But that'll do it. Like CDM said, College Kings episode 14 is done. Peace.
Deuces.